Yeah, he does. He really does. Yeah. I know it's in the family.
Yeah, it's in the family, but he's really, he's on a great job. He's really deserved to get it.
Well, that's wonderful. That you found somebody you can trust.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm bad.
So we were really worried. We didn't know what he was.
What is the introvert?
He's an introvert, like, I mean, he's almost a hermit. But we were really worried about him. He would come once in a while to my mom and dad's house. They had everybody over every Sunday. They'd come 3 times a day. And my sister can't control her. I know he did. He fought something with that. And so she shuffled the streets. But then when they found out it was Parkinson's, they put him on this drug and actually was giving him some life. And the weird thing is he starts smoking. He's been around.
I did.
That's because you know how
It was so bad. I mean, not bad. I don't know. Just an introvert.
he's almost an introvert. So he's just
The number 3 is he tells me he always had something wrong with him. Shoulder wouldn't work. Back would. Yeah, that's what it's from.
so we all, and all of a sudden,
Really is. But that, you know, they killed my brother Charles.
doesn't do it, doesn't socialize with it. So, part of that, I think, I'm not saying he gave it to himself, but it's been, he hasn't done anything.
Good morning.
What have you done with that?
How you guys doing today?
He was going to go. I just talked to him later. Because a couple of times he came in. William, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Since he got into another he's better, he's more, you know, my parents were worried that my sister didn't have any, they have no kids, and she doesn't,
I'm wondering how
she goes to work, she works 6 days a week. She goes to the office, and she goes there all the time. Trying to take stuff away from her. That's her whole life.
so nice to see you.
Hey, yeah, I was there a little bit.
I was there for a little bit, Joe, I was on, but I wasn't on.
I saw you there.
I came at the end.
You, did you play?
I'll be honest, I don't know nobody else.
Now you have a car.
Mr. Gallon, I'm doing a roll call.
Lee Mallett, William Fluot,
Here.
Brian Bordelon,
Here.
Noah Broussard,
Here.
Kristen Brown, Kim DiGiovanni, Courtney Finay, David Gallo,
Here.
Adam Gwynn, Stephen Hackworth,
Here.
Curtis Joseph,
Here.
Donald Lambert,
Here.
Garland Meredith,
Here.
Christopher Stewart,
Here.
Elliot Temple,
Here.
Keith Tillage,
Here.
Victor Weston. We have a quorum.
All right, thanks. Mr. Meredith, would you mind leading us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Mr. Chair, if I could address for just a moment.
Yes, sir.
You may or may not have noticed our hearing officer is not present. I just had a small conversation with her. She has had a challenge, but she is on her way. She's going to be a bit late. Her replacement has been summoned. He's on his way, but we don't know how long that's going to be. It is Ms. Stark's suggestion and recommendation that I believe our council agrees with. We can handle some non-judiciary matters
Okay.
prior to that, so we'll just be a little bit off track on the agenda. And I know that's not where we necessarily like to be, but
All right.
this may be a time that Mr. Gunner could roll the agenda up a little bit so we can take a look at it and see what we can handle. I think you can, I'm sorry, Shannon, come back. You moved so fast. That's okay. Let's look there. You can certainly do your consideration of your meetings and your public comments, and then we can go to the back for some approvals and some staff issues.
All right. Do you want to go to any reports?
Yeah, you want to do your consideration of your February meeting minutes? Your normal A?
Yes. All right. Let's, any motion for the consideration of the minutes from the previous meeting?
Move to accept them as typed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for acceptance of last month's meeting minutes. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right. And
I think section B, I've seen that, like I've taken that over from Mr. Beavers, but good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here with us today. I don't think we have anything that we need to identify moving forward. Maybe you could ask for public comments next.
all right. All right. Any public comments? All right. With no public comments, we'll move on.
Shannon, can you bounce down past me here for me? There we go. Maybe Mr. Bordelon could give us a real quick treasurer report.
Mr. Bordelon?
Nothing to report at this time. The financials are, have been submitted for February, and all is fine.
I think he's saying we're doing a great job.
Yeah. Staff has done a great job.
Ms. Leger asked me to share with you on the staff report section that you guys have some ethics reporting stuff that is due. Please pay attention to such, and she will be following up with an email, most likely numerous times, to make sure that we're all in compliance.
Just confirming, everybody should have received their ethics reporting form. I know I did mine via email, certainly. Everybody got theirs? All right. Good deal.
Staying in order is the two resolutions that are here that Mr. Joseph is going to read for us, and he's probably not very aware of yet.
On the fly.
On the fly. But they're good resolutions, sir.
Yeah.
A little professional.
That'll be my life. Louisiana State Licensing Board of Contractors, Resolution 2025-07. The following resolution was offered by Curtis Joseph and seconded by Elliot Temple.
That's right.
At the March 20, 2025 meeting of the Louisiana State Licensing Board of Contractors. A resolution granting the Executive Director of the Louisiana State Licensing Board of Contractors or his designee the authority to sign a contract with Acumatica Revive ERP. Whereas the Louisiana State Licensing Board of Contractors, i.e. the board, was created in 1956 by Act 233 of the Louisiana Legislature, Louisiana Revised Statute 37:2150 SC, and whereas the board's accounting software has reached end life and requires replacement, and whereas the first-year contract price for Acumatica Revive ERP accounting software implementation and support is $124,961, and whereas to the extent deemed necessary or appropriate by the board for the efficient implementation of its responsibilities under Chapter 24 of Title 37 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes, the board may delegate its powers and duties to its staff by specific resolution of the board pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 37-2153, subsection G. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Louisiana State Licensing Board of Contractors, the governing authority, in regular session assembled, that the board hereby grants the executive director or its designee the authority to sign a contract with Acumatica Revive ERP for accounting software implementation and support This resolution having been submitted to a vote therein as follows.
All right.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second for this resolution. Any discussion? Anybody need any clarification on the motion? Brad?
I'm good.
You-
That's essentially the software program that we had talked about.
We've
with
talked
Government
about it.
Ladies.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's been dead for a couple of years, and this is kind of getting us out of the stone age.
Okay, with that said, I'll entertain a vote. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Good to see you, sir. Just go down to the yes. Okay. A resolution granting the executive director of the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors or its designee the authority to suspend all licenses and/or qualifying party statuses held by a licensee or qualifying party for failure to comply with an order to pay civil penalties pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 37:2150 at C within 90 days of notice of such order, and to further grant the authority to reinstate such upon satisfactory compliance with the order and the payment of any reinstatement fees assessed. Whereas the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors, i.e. the board, was created in 1956 by Act 233 of the Louisiana Legislature, Louisiana Revised Statute 37:2150 at C. And whereas the board and residential subcommittee of the board are vested with the authority requisite and necessary to carry out the intent of the provisions of Chapter 24 of Title 37 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes 37:2150 at C, and rules and regulations promulgated thereto, including the authority to issue orders, charging that violations of such have occurred, and to assess civil penalties, which include the assessment of fines, administrative fees, and the suspension of licenses, qualifying party statuses, and whereas to the extent deemed necessary or appropriate by the board for the efficient implementation of its responsibilities under Chapter 24, Title 37 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes, the board may delegate its powers and duties to its staff by specific resolution of the board pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 37:2153 subsection G. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors, the governing authority, in regular session assembled hereby grants the executive director or his designee the authority to suspend all licenses and/or qualifying party statuses held by a licensee, qualifying party, for failure to comply with an order to pay civil penalties pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 37:2150 at C, within 90 days notice of such order, and further grants the authority to reinstate such upon satisfactory compliance with the order and payment of any reinstatement fees assessed. This resolution having been submitted to a vote thereon as follows.
Temple second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. And if you don't mind, Mr. Hassard, give us the Cliff Notes version. We've talked about this in the past, but on the bit for the benefit of the board.
Absolutely. Before I do that, though, Mr. Joseph, would you identify the number of that resolution for the record?
The second one was resolution number 2025-06.
Correct. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members, we talked about that a few times in the past with the executive committee and some of y'all individually. That resolution particularly applies only to licensed contractors that are assessed a penalty for disciplinary action or therefore by you all. The challenge with that is collection efforts are extremely limited by the virtue of the fact that they are licensed. We often go, it is very potential for a debt to sit for 3 years before anyone decides to pay such debt. In that time, what does happen is occasionally that company ends up being out of business, and we no longer have the ability to collect said penalty. The wording in there is very specifically vague in a particular part. It does not necessarily mean that said licensed contractor has to pay his debt in full within 90 days, but they have to come to some terms to make arrangements to pay that debt. So payment plans, as we call them, still exist. They will probably always exist. The board offers that to licensed and non-licensed folks who are disciplined by this board. And it's just a matter to try to keep the money where it's supposed to be.
And again, this is cleaning up details as we review our policy. I mean, typical cycle, if a contractor has a 3-year renewal cycle, he could be assessed a penalty after his first month of that cycle. and it's typically not caught until a renewal process where you got to do background checks and you do the audits and such. And this puts a little more teeth in that for us, and we certainly appreciate that. And again, it's part of the efforts to just to get a little more proactive and hold the contractors accountable if in fact they do have those violations. So with that being said, are any more questions regarding this? All right. All right, all those in favor? All those opposed? All right, motion carries.
Mr. Go, could you move to the next page real quick?
We might as well knock this out while we're at it.
Yes, sir.
All right, applications, additional classification, residential building subcommittee, Mr. Temple.
All right, gentlemen, if you look on page 7, I make a motion that the additional classifications being added to the residential license as listed and attached to the agenda be approved pending all requirements being met for Blue Tide Exteriors LLC.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, if we look on pages 8 through 11, I make a motion that the applications for residential licensure as listed and attached to the agenda be approved pending all requirements being met, beginning with AM Construction Boards LLC and ending with Tamika B. Willis.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, if we look on pages 12 through 15, I make a motion that the application for home improvement registration as listed and attached to the agenda be approved pending all requirements being met, beginning with 337 Painting and Cleaning LLC and ending with Wolf Contracting Incorporated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, and finally, with residential, I make a motion to accept and ratify the actions of the March 19, 2025 Residential Building Contractor Subcommittee.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right, item K2, Mr. Tillage, exemption request.
If you turn to 16 in your docket, based on recommendations, I move that the applications for exemptions for exam as listed and attached to the agenda be approved, except, please note, Travis Gaspard will not be approved for the streets, highway, streets, and bridges. All right, beginning with Ranchjet Singai Shanji and ending with Jamal K. Wilson.
Temple, second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Item K3, consideration of mold remediation. Mr. Lambert.
I make a motion that the applications for mold remediation be as listed on and attached to the agenda be approved pending all requirements being met, beginning with Gulf South Environmental Services LLC and ending with Patriot Disaster Specialists LLC on page 17.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All righty. Additional classifications.
I make a motion that the additional classifications being added to commercial licenses as listed and attached to the agenda be approved, all pending requirements being met, beginning with Apex Environmental Solutions and ending with Vincent Rutan Incorporated on pages 18 and 19.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Consideration of commercial application, Mr. Lambert.
I make a motion that the applications for commercial licenses as listed and attached to the agenda be approved pending all requirements being met with, beginning with the 2 Esto LLC and ending with Behan USEP on pages 20 through 31.
be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All righty.
Mr. Chair, I believe Mr. Farrar is here as our administrative
And that's Mr.
Hunter Farrar.
Farrar. All right. Good deal, Mr. Farrar. You mind introducing yourself?
Sure. First, Ms. Starks wanted me to pass along some apologies. She wanted to be here this morning. She was prepared to be here. Some stuff came up. So y'all are stuck with me. But good morning. My name is Hunter Farrar. I'm an Assistant Attorney General with the Louisiana Department of Justice. I'll be presiding over today's administrative hearings, which will be conducted pursuant to the Louisiana Administrative Procedure Act and Louisiana Revised Statute 950 et sec, and the Board's administrative rules as set forth in Section 717. I will govern the procedure by which we will operate, administer oaths and affirmations, rule on admissibility of evidence, and ensure due process for all participants during the hearings. The Board will make all findings of fact and conclusions of law. While this is not a court of law, we will follow the procedures established in the Louisiana Administrative Procedure Act. We ask for decorum and order throughout these proceedings. The Board is committed to making sure every contractor is properly licensed. It is important for all contractors performing residential and commercial work to be licensed pursuant to state law. If any board member needs to recuse themselves from a matter, please do so when we get to that item on the agenda, and we'll note it for the record. If anyone has any questions during the proceedings, please let me know during the hearing so I can address them. Before we begin, please silence all cell phones.
If we could swear in the investigators and staff real quick, get that out of the way.
Yep, officer. All right.
Let's see, Donald Borg, Andy Futrell, John Blanc, Ronnie Dawson, Lane Anderson, Frank Vaughn, Wade Day, Leanne Evans, Logan Cockerham, Stephanie Belanger, Joe Anderson, Jared Watson, myself, and David Hill.
Y'all raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will let the truth, that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. New business.
If the board will allow it, we'd like to go under old business continuances, F3, Randy A. Farrell Sr. and Global Technical Solutions, LLC.
Yeah, we'll do that. Absolutely.
Motion?
Make a motion to move that to the front of the agenda.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Again, remind us what case we're on.
Yes, sir. F3, Randy A. Farrell Sr. and Global Technical Solutions, LLC. Are any representatives present?
Let the record reflect that no representatives are present.
Okay, we have a settlement offer.
All right.
Randy A. Farrell Sr. and Global Technical Solutions, LLC of Kenner, Louisiana is before you today for consideration of alleged violations for acting as a contractor to perform work without possessing a Louisiana state contractor's license, for any dishonest or fraudulent act as a contractor which has caused damage to another as judged by a court of competent jurisdiction, for failure to continue to fulfill any of the requirements for original licensure, for problems related to the ability of the contractor, its qualifying party, or any of its principal owners or principal shareholders to engage in the business of contracting, and for disqualification or debarment by any public entity. This is his first appearance. Mr. Randy Farrell Sr. was a member and qualifying party for Global Technical Solutions, LLC. He was removed on February 19th of 2025. Global Technical Solutions, LLC held a home improvement registration from April 5th of 2019 until April 5th of 2023 when it expired. They held a residential license from April 22nd of 2019 until April 22nd of 2023 when it expired. They held a commercial license from March 19th of 2015 until December 30th of 2024 when it was summarily suspended. Mr. Farrell's qualifying party status was also suspended on December 30th of 2024, and then he surrendered it on March 14th of 2025. Mr. Randy Farrell enters a nolo contendere plea to the licensing charge of violation, Louisiana Revised Statute 372158, as he is seizing all business operations. With the acceptance of this offer, staff wishes to dismiss charges against Global Technical Solutions, LLC.
Call Sean Beavers.
Mr. Beavers has been sworn.
Mr. Beavers, in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4 for this matter involving Randy A. Farrell Sr. and Global Technical Solutions LLC. Were they prepared in the regular and ordinary course of business of the Licensing Board for Contractors for this matter?
They were.
We offer the exhibits into the record.
The exhibits are admitted.
Mr. Beavers, as part of that exhibit packet, it contains a letter from Mr. Farrell's attorney and making the offer that has been read before this board. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And with the board's acceptance of this settlement offer from Mr. Farrell, in which essentially he is relinquishing his rights as a QP, is that correct?
That is correct.
And also, we would be willing to dismiss the charges against Global Technical Solutions LLC. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that is because Global has removed Randy Farrell from its ownership and of its QP status. Is that correct? All right. With that, we submit to the board for consideration of the settlement offer. Joseph, move to accept.
Till the second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Are we going back to D1?
Yes, sir, please.
Thanks.
Under D, enforcement hearings, item number 1A, Nobel Construction, Inc., or any representatives present?
The record reflect that no representatives are present.
Nobel Construction, Inc. of Chesterfield, Missouri is before you today for consideration of alleged violations for entering into contracts with unlicensed contractors to perform work on the Petco project in Harvey, Louisiana in the amount of $117,300. This is their second appearance. They were here February 20th of 2020 for entering into a contract with an unlicensed contractor, pled no contest, and paid $2,500. They've held a commercial license since April 27th of 1999.
Call Dylan Bork.
He's been sworn.
Mr. Borg, in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular and ordinary course of business of the Licensing Board for Contractors for this matter involving Noble Construction?
Yes, they were.
We offer the exhibits into the record.
They're admitted.
Mr. Borg, according to the records, it appears that Noble Construction was provided with notice of this hearing and of its violation by certified mail. Is that correct?
That's correct.
It also shows that Noble entered into contracts with unlicensed contractors, that being 2 different contractors. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the total amount of those contracts was $117,300. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And these were on commercial projects. Is that correct?
That's correct.
We submit to the board that Noble Construction Inc. is in violation of Louisiana contractors licensing laws for entering into contracts with 2 unlicensed contractors in the total amount of $117,300 on commercial projects. We ask that you find them guilty of the violation and issue the appropriate fines and costs. Joseph, move to find violation.
Temple, second.
We have a motion and a second to find guilty. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Penalty?
Max fine plus costs.
Temple, second.
We have a motion and a second for max fine plus costs. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
A Cubed Corporation or any representatives present?
Yes.
Good morning, sir. Can you identify yourself?
Yes.
Can you tell me your name?
Fred Baker.
You speak into the microphone when you're speaking?
Fred Baker.
And do you have authority to speak on behalf of A Cubed Corporation?
I do.
Okay, I need to swear you in. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
A Cubed Corporation of New Orleans, Louisiana is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's License on the Petco project in Harvey, Louisiana in the amount of $55,600. This is their 4th violation before the board. They were here March 20th of 2024 for failure to provide records, pled no contest. The board assessed $1,000 administrative costs and ordered suspension of the license if records were not supplied in 14 days. That they were supplied and it was paid. They were here on March 21st, 2024 for 2 different violations. The first one was a judgment. They pled no contest. The board ordered judgment and all fines owed to the board be paid within 30 days or revoke their commercial and residential license. The board also assessed $1,000 cost. Everything was paid. The other charge on that same day was willful misrepresentation of fact by applicant in obtaining a license and efforts to deceive the public. They were found guilty, fined $2,000 plus $1,000 cost, which was paid. Mr. Freddie Baker was the president and qualifier for First Rate Investment Services, LLC. They had a hearing in November of 2023, pled no contest to residential contracting without a license, and offered to pay $2,000 plus $1,000 cost. $3,000 total remains outstanding and has been turned over to the AG's office for collection. Oh, I'm sorry. It was paid to the AG's office. They had a residential license from January 1st of 2016, January 16th of 2008. It was revoked on July 20th of 2010 for failure to obtain insurance. Another residential license April 11th of 2022 until April 22nd of 2024, when it was revoked for failure to comply with the board's order to pay a judgment and all fines. Commercial license from October 18th of 2007 until April 22nd of 2024, when it was revoked for failure to comply with the board's order to pay a judgment and all fines.
How do you wish to plead today?
Not guilty.
Okay. All right, with that, we're going to move into the hearing phase.
Call Dylan Bork.
He's been sworn.
Spork, in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular ordinary course of business of the licensing board for contractors?
That's correct.
Sir, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Offer the exhibits into the record.
Sorry, jumped the gun. Mr. Baker, do you have any objection to this evidence coming into the record?
No.
Okay. The exhibits are admitted.
Spork, in the records, it appears that AQ Corporation entered into an agreement with Noble Construction, Inc. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that was to perform plumbing work, is that correct?
That's correct.
And that was on the Petco project in Harvey, Louisiana, is that correct?
That's correct.
And was that work plumbing work?
That's correct.
And the total amount, as indicated in Exhibit 2A, was for $55,600, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. At that time, AQ Corporation did not possess licensing with this board to perform that plumbing work, is that correct?
That's correct.
No further questions?
Mr. Baker, do you have any questions for this witness?
No.
Okay.
I have no further witnesses.
All right. Do you have anybody that you'd like to call, Mr. Baker? Would you like to make a statement to the board?
Statement.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can do that now.
Yes. At the time that this proposal was submitted to Noble Construction, I had a general contractor's license. I submitted this bid as a general contractor, and I had a subcontractor to perform the plumbing work. I did not perform plumbing work as a company. This work was performed by a licensed and a master plumber.
So you said you submitted it as a general?
Yes.
So what was your proposal to Nobel then? What was Nobel doing on the project?
As a general contractor.
Which one of you were general contractors?
Pardon me?
Which one of you were general contractors then?
I had a contractor's license. I submitted this proposal as a part of the work that was being performed by Noble.
You were the general contractor on the project?
No, I was a subcontractor.
So Noble pulled the permit.
Yes.
All right. And they came and they asked you and GC to do the plumbing.
Yes.
Now, why wouldn't they go directly to the subcontractor for plumbing? And he said his license, his master plumber, or what happened?
Well, the plumber that did the work was a sub to me.
Yeah, but I'm just curious. Why would the GC come to another GC to ask him to?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Did you pull the plumbing permit?
No.
Who did that?
SK Johnson and Associates.
That's your sub?
Yes.
Now we're here, so.
Yes.
So, let me go back to you. What are we missing here?
When I asked for the subcontractor list, Noble gave me a listing that, on the subcontractor list, that AQ Corporation was the plumber.
Okay.
And then when I asked for the information, the contract from Canovo, that's what they sent me. They never sent me information from the other plumber.
Right, because, okay, so you asked for the plumber and they gave you the GC. They had they have a contract in place, I'm sorry I hadn't seen it, to contract plumbing services?
Yes, sir. The contract that I received, subcontract was AQ Corporation with a price of $55,600, and the scope of work was for him to do the plumbing work.
Mr. Baker, can you tell me, when was your license revoked?
I'm not really sure, but it was, I'm sure it was after this proposal.
Was it after you performed the work?
Pardon me?
Was it after the plumbing work was done?
Oh, before, once I was notified that my license was in trouble, we terminated this contract with Canovo, and Canovo had entered into a contract with S.K. Johnson Associates to perform the work.
So you didn't receive any, you weren't paid any money on the contract after your license was revoked or anything?
Correct. The contract then was terminated between myself and Canovo, and a contract was entered into between Canovo and S.K. Johnson to perform the work.
Who entered into that contract? Did Noble enter that contract with the third party
Yes.
plumber or you?
No, Canovo did.
I'm going to yield to, Mr. Gallo.
So as a mechanical.
Well, let's go ahead, hold on just a second, guys. Let me recognize David.
So you say you're a general contractor, but you signed a contract that said you're gonna do the plumbing on a project to another contractor. To do that, you should have a plumbing or mechanical license. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I was being as a general contractor, not as a
But the
plumber.
scope of the work in the contract
Was
says
plumbing, yes. To me, it's the same thing as I had bid at a job and I was gonna do the work as a painter or as a drywall contractor or whatever.
You gotta tell me why you were doing the plumbing for someone. It just, because you signed a contract to do the plumbing as a general contractor, but you're not licensed to do that, in my opinion. So why would you sign the contract to do the plumbing?
Because I had a subcontractor to do the actual work and to do the actual plumbing.
All right, Mr. Hill, tell me.
Okay, so in order to help me out, Canovo was here for having an unlicensed contract, right?
Correct.
And we're deeming AQ Corporation as one of the unlicensed contractors?
Correct. That's Canovo told me that AQ Corporation was supposed to do the plumbing.
All right, and because they don't have a plumbing license.
Correct. They never did have, AQ Corporation never did have a plumbing license.
Plumbing license, but at the time, they didn't have a commercial license.
At the time, AQ Corporation had a commercial license in building construction, I believe, but that license was revoked several days later.
And they were terminated. Who pulled the plumbing permit?
I believe the plumber that they hired after they released AQ.
Okay, but prior to that, there was work being done on the project when it was under AQ, correct?
I believe this project was just underway. When
Okay,
it
so
came
there was no work.
So you're here, he's here before the board, as Mr. Gallo pointed out, and as is indicated in page 6 of the exhibit packet, which is 2A, that the contract says, contractor hereby hires subcontractor to supply all labor, equipment, tools, and materials to complete the entirety of the plumbing scope of work. That's why he's here today, because he did not have a plumbing license. He bid the project, and I understand what he's saying, and yes, you can, if he was in Canovo's position, he could do exactly what that, but he did not do that. He did it as a subcontractor plumber, and then he subcontracted out the plumbing work to a third party, but that still means that he subcontracted as a plumber.
My interpretation as a mechanical representative is to sign that contract, you have to have a mechanical license recognized by this organization. You can't sign a contract for a specific scope unless you're not designated to do that work.
And claim the GC status.
Correct.
When there's already a GC on
That's
it.
mine.
Yeah, but the investigator speak.
Once I notified Canovo that AQ wasn't a licensed plumber, they made the move to move forward. So I don't think they did their due diligence to find out if he was actually a plumber when they accepted this contract.
But it brings into question if there was an interior build out, right? And I'm a GC, and I'm going to do the wall studs, drop studs, what have you, excess of $50,000. If I'm contracted to do that, but I'm still a GC, would the same thing apply? You know?
No, it's specific because this is a plumbing only, would be the same as electrical. To do over $50,000 of that work, you have to have that designation.
Yeah.
Mr.
Hazard?
If I could
Actually, over 10,000.
If I could,
10,000, yeah, 50.
Mr. Hazard?
if I could try just to clarify this. Statute and rule allows a general contractor to scope out any particular scope of work that he is not qualified to do, period. If Mr. Baker was the general contractor over this entire project, he would be allowed to hire a plumber.
Right.
The problem that we've run into here is Mr. Baker's sole scope, the sole authority by his contract is plumbing. That makes him the general plumbing contractor. He does not have such license, as Mr. Gallo said. He does not hold plumbing or mechanical. He doesn't have the authority to work on the plumbing or mechanical portions, nor to sub such out. If Mr. Baker had 5 other scopes of work where plumbing was not a majority of those, it would be fine. But this is a single scope of work contract that he held that he is not properly licensed for.
And as we sit here today, does he have any viable license?
No, sir. They've all been revoked.
All right. Any last closing statements, Mr. Baker?
No, as I said, I bid this work as a general contractor with the intention and did not file for the plumbing, did not perform the plumbing. It was done by a licensed plumber.
But you understand the technicality that there was already an established general on the state, which you couldn't claim the general status of that. And this was a specific scope of work associated with plumbing.
Understood.
All right. With that, what are the wishes of the board?
Well, he could make an offer if he wanted to.
Well, we got to find him guilty or not guilty. He pled not guilty. What are the?
I move to find a violation.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second for a violation for guilty. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Penalty?
Excuse me, Ms. Leanne. He's paid the fine that he had on record with the AG?
Yes, sir.
So he has no outstanding fines at this time?
Let me just double check. I don't think so. Let me look at one more thing.
I want to remind the board, though.
Correct. Everything's paid. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. But lots of previous violations here, you know, and again, he stands as no, he holds no legitimate licenses. All right, good. Back to you.
All right, so max fine plus cost.
All right. We have a motion for max fine plus cost.
Temple second.
We have a second. Any discussion?
Well, I'd like to just say one thing. It seems to me, man, maybe he pulled wool over my eyes, but when he found out that he didn't pull the license, he didn't get paid through the license, and the subcontractor did all the work. I do think in technically, you're in violation, certainly. But I just would say that
Well, we have a motion and a second. If you want to tender an alternate motion, if not,
No, I'm good.
we'll move
I
on.
like the substitute motion, and here's why. I think that his history, although it's been egregious, this doesn't seem as the same motive to me. He doesn't hold a license at this particular point. He's paid all his fines. I would move that there is $1,000 court cost, $1,000 fine.
I like that.
Mr. Baker, did you receive any money off this contract?
No.
I'll second that.
So he does have an outstanding fine on another company.
He does have an
That is
outstanding
unpaid. That
Under
is
First Straight Investment Services, there's a $3,000 fine.
Is he a qualifying party for an existing company?
Not existing.
All right, okay.
All right, so we have an alternate motion by Mr. Tillage. Do we have a second?
Yeah, and a second by Mr. Stewart.
Okay.
All right, any discussion on the alternate motion? All in favor? All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
All right, so we have, do you need a count? Are you good? I think we want to show hands.
Who else is nay?
Temple and
Can the nays raise their hand,
And then
please?
Joseph.
Okay,
Yeah.
Temple and Joseph are.
1, 2.
All right, with that, motion passes. All right, thank you, Mr. Baker. Mr. Baker, are you going to continue doing this work?
I mean, what?
Are you going to continue working in the construction industry?
I think so.
I don't see how you can, but you have no license. You understand the parameters. We certainly don't want to see you
I don't
again.
intend to do work as a general contractor, but I'm constantly sought to give advice and stuff like that. I do estimates and things of that nature. But
Well, please.
this situation here just seems to have been a conglomeration of things. And as far as I was concerned, I think someone mentioned that I had no intent to do anything outside of the board. But it was always intended for a licensed plumber to do this work.
That may be the case, but again, you've got multiple violations in the past. You know, you've shown a history. You either need to learn the law and get, you know, properly licensed, or we can't see you here again, obviously.
And if you have any questions about what you can and can't do, you can call up here and they can give you help.
Mr. Hassett? Yes.
Mr. Sweat, when you suggested that Mr. Baker might be coming before the statute, I feel obligated, though I'm trying to sit down, to explain that what he just said to you, that he's going to prepare estimates and he's going to essentially manage projects. The definition of a contractor is anyone who supervises, directs, estimates, bids, or quotes a project. A license is required. If we are only going to be a project manager, which is what he seems like he's going, that requires the same licensure.
Same credentials.
Everything that he said to you that he intends to do is requisite of a commercial building license.
Well, my point being is, he's not going to be able to do any of those things. He's going to have to operate at a much lower level, and
I was just suggesting that Mr. Baker be aware of that.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
We made every effort to be clear.
Well, all right, good deal. Thank you, Mr. Baker. Appreciate it.
My intention is to do this as an employee for someone else, not for myself.
Well, there you go. All right, thank you, Mr. Baker. Appreciate it. Next case.
The next item is On Time Drain Cleaning LLC. Are any representatives present?
Good morning. Can you identify yourself for the record?
Roosevelt Herb.
And are you authorized to speak on behalf of On Time Drain Cleaning LLC?
Yes.
All right. Can you swear you in? Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
On Time Drain Cleaning LLC of Metairie, Louisiana is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's License at 4408 West Esplanade Avenue in Metairie, Louisiana, in the amount of $12,764.43. This is their first appearance. They have not applied. However, they have an active master plumber's license with the Plumbing Board.
So how do you wish to plead this morning?
Not guilty.
Not guilty, okay. Go to the hearing phase. He's been sworn.
Call Joe Anderson. Mr. Anderson, in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular ordinary course of business in the license board for contractors?
They were.
We submit the exhibits into the record.
Sir, do you have any objection to these exhibits coming into the record?
No.
No. The exhibits are admitted.
Mr. Anderson, according to these exhibits, it appears that On Time Drain Cleaning LLC entered into an agreement or it was involved in a plumbing job for the total amount of $12,764.43. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And at the time, although On Time was a master plumber, they did not possess licensing with this board to perform plumbing work. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And if you look at Exhibit 2D, there's a payment to On Time Drain Cleaning LLC of $3,250. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's from Lanny Investments. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that was related to a plumbing job that was performed on the project located at 4408 West Esplanade, which was a home improvement project in Metairie, Louisiana. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that project was owned by, I guess, Lanny Investments. Is that right?
That is correct.
And part of that work was performed by Blanco Construction, and On Time performed another part of that work. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the reason for the violation reaching $12,764.43 was that the labor for the material for that project was $10,700, and then the material was $2,064.43. Is that correct?
That's correct. And
so, go ahead.
Also, there was 2 different plumbers on the job, so it's a total cost of all the plumbing.
So it created because there were 2 different plumbers, and the other plumber was Power Plumbing Repairs. Is that right?
That's correct.
And because those 2 plumbers were performing the same scope of work, and the total scope amounted to $12,764.43. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you need a plumbing license for that, commercial plumbing license for that project. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And On Time Drain Cleaning LLC did not possess that. Is that correct?
That is correct.
No further questions.
Sir, do you have any questions for this witness?
No, sir.
No further questions of anyone?
Do you have any evidence or any witnesses you'd like to call?
No, sir. I didn't know about the other part of the plumbing person who was doing the other work. I just knew about my part. So I was the only one there working at the time. So anybody else, I had no recollection of what was going on. And I had no recollection of anything being over what I gave an estimate for.
So,
Would you mind telling us a little bit about the nature of the project, the scope of just what were you hired to do? How did this
So I was hired by this Big Step construction company to camera, video scope the line, find the issue that it was having an ongoing issue. Found a leak growing inside the pipe. We gave an estimate of $6,500 to tunnel under, change that section of pipe, put the dirt back over that. Nothing to do with the interior, nothing to do with anything else.
And how much was your contract for?
$6,500. $6,500.
did you provide any materials in addition to that?
It was included in the bid. No, everything in my bid was included in the bid. Labor and materials and that. No, it's not broke down on. They don't have. This isn't the final receipt.
All right. Mr. Anderson, when you were at the site, did you witness these guys working on the same project at the same time? Or?
No, sir. This was actually Mr. Wayne Aguilar's case, so
Okay.
he would have been the one to work on that.
Okay.
And it was a renovation of a project of a residence.
So, gentleman's saying that there are 2 different scopes of work, and he was not aware of any other scope of work. Do we have anything that?
No, sir.
That. All right.
So if you do look at 2B, 2B does show that Power Plumbing performed $4,200 of work. Now that was rough in and finished. That was on the inside of the house. And that was shown to be performed on 1/25/23. The work that was performed by On Time Drain appears to have been performed in November of '22, so that would have been a couple of months before then.
All right.
So it could be very well that On Time Drain was just hired to do underground work and didn't do the interior. But it was one scope of plumbing work, but it's for the board to determine whether or not you want to separate that out and look at it differently. The only reason it was brought here is because that it's one plumbing job.
Yeah, because Council, what I'm looking at is Blanco Construction contracted directly with Power Plumbing.
Right.
And there's no mention of On Time in this, and I'm looking at this 2 minutes. I just don't see an overlap between these 2 scopes right now.
Did you work for Blanco? Was your contract was with Blanco?
Big Step of Construction. I don't even know who that guy was.
Yep.
This is a very common practice in the commercial building to do the separation of the interior plumbing 5 feet outside the building, and then another contractor picks it up on the outside of the site work.
Okay.
But Mr. Chairman, if he was only doing his part of the work for $6,500, he's under the $10,000.
Okay.
We wouldn't have him here.
Oh, okay. So what are the wishes of the board? Any more questions?
Not guilty.
We have a motion to dismiss.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. All right. Thank you.
But now, if you're gonna do some contracting on your own, you're gonna have to get a license with us.
Yeah, you plan on getting a license?
If you're gonna go over $10,000.
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
So just.
But he is a master plumber.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.
We got to dismiss the next one. So, based on your finding here that you just found, we might as well dismiss Power Plumbing because it was the same project.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and agree to dismiss that one, Power Plumbing.
Joseph moved to dismiss.
Temple second.
Any discussion?
I'm trying to decipher the complaint.
Ms. Brown, what was that?
I was looking at Exhibit 2A, and there's an online complaint filed by Kate Wise.
Can you speak into the microphone?
I apologize. The original complaint in Section 2A, Exhibit 2A of the on-time drain cleaning has an online complaint filed by Kate Wise, and it's not spelling or grammatically correct. I'm just trying
Well, I read it, there's something wrong with the S's. I don't know why the S's didn't print, but the S's. But anyway, it's a different, it is a complaint, and there's other parties involved in it.
Okay.
These were just some of the other, these plumbers were involved, but the actual, it's a bigger complaint than this.
Right. I was just trying to translate what this had to do
Okay.
with.
All right.
These guys just got caught in the bigger part of the complaint.
All right, look, let me remind the board, we've got a motion and a second to dismiss Power Plumbing. I don't think we voted on that. Any more discussion on that? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Let's item 3.
The next item is 71 Steel LLC. Are any representatives present?
Good morning. Can you identify yourself, please?
Joseph Turner.
Mr. Turner, do you have authority to speak on behalf of 71 Steel LLC?
Yes.
Okay. Can you swear you in? Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
71 Steel LLC of Alexandria, Louisiana is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform work without possessing a Louisiana state contractor's license on the Heart of Worship Gym project in Pineville, Louisiana, in the amount of $197,750. This is their first appearance. They held a home improvement registration from September 20th of 2022 until September 20th of 2023 when it expired. They have not applied for a commercial license.
Mr. Turner, how do you wish to plead?
No contest.
No contest.
Temple move to accept.
To second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the no contest plea. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Call Andy Futrell.
He's been sworn.
Futrell, in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular ordinary course of business of the licensing board for contractors for this matter?
They were.
We'll offer the exhibits into the record.
Mr. Turner, do you have any objection to this evidence coming into the record?
No, sir.
The exhibits are admitted?
Mr. Futrell, according to the exhibit on page 8, which is exhibit 2B, it shows that 71 Steel LLC entered into an agreement to perform work on a project which was the Heart of Worship Church Gym in the amount of $197,750. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I have no further questions.
Do you have any questions for this witness, Mr. Turner?
No, sir.
I have no additional witnesses.
All right, so we're into the penalty phase.
Or Mr. Turner, share with us.
Sorry. To make statements to the board, Mr. Turner.
So I was under the impression by my previous partner in this company that we were allowed to work with the church under them being the contractor because they were a church. If I'd have known that we needed this commercial license to build, we would never enter into this agreement. We knew we needed one for the plumber. We got a commercially licensed plumber to do the work on this. So I mean, I was really just unaware, misinformed of needing this license.
What are your intentions with licensure in the future?
So we plan to apply for it. I was just told to wait after this hearing to apply.
Right, okay, so we've got a license pending. Do we have a license pending?
No, so we haven't even applied yet.
Okay. All right, but your intentions are to get licensed?
Yes, sir.
What's your business? What's your main line of business right now?
Welding and fabrication. We sell steel, and we also sell these pre-engineered buildings also.
Okay, and you erect it as well?
Well, we don't anymore because...
Yeah, but that's true.
Yes,
You erect the building.
yes.
Okay.
And so
we were under the impression that we could do it for the churches, being the contractor, and us working through them. I mean, we didn't pull any permits, nothing. He did.
So churches are allowed to build without a permit?
Right.
Without a license? Churches do have that special exemption.
But they've got to hire private license.
They got to hire licensed contractors, but they can be the general contractor without a license.
Correct. All right. But, go ahead, I'm sorry, Mr. Tillage.
So, how long have you been in business?
Since 22 is when I opened the company.
All right. And you have mainly been working with GCs who hire you, or who have you been working with?
Really, we don't do a lot of buildings. We do just main shop work welding.
Okay.
This guy just reached out to us by buying some aluminum sheets, and then it kind of went into he's looking to build a gymnasium.
Okay, this is kind of your first time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
All right.
All right. So, since you said you were gonna get your license, you plan on getting your
Plan on
license?
applying for it, yes, sir.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I'll make a motion that we find you $19,000 plus $1,000 cost. If you get your license within 180 days, we'll reduce that fine.
120? Or what?
100.
What's our standard, 120?
I say 120.
180 is good.
180 is good?
That's what we're doing on real.
Awesome, okay, give it.
So 180 days, if you get your license within that 180-day period, we'll reduce your fine to 1,000 plus 1,000.
Okay.
All right.
Joseph second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Thank y'all.
SLSJ Associates LLC or any representatives present.
No representatives present.
We have a settlement offer. SLSJ Associates LLC of Dallas, Texas is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for entering into a contract with an unlicensed contractor to perform work on the Beals number 837 project in New Iberia, Louisiana in the amount of $58,000. This is their second appearance. They were here March 17th of 2022 for entering into a contract with an unlicensed contractor, pled no contest, and paid $1,500. They've held a commercial license since 2011. They're offering a no contest plea, a $2,000 fine, and $1,000 cost.
Call John LeBlanc.
He's been sworn.
Mr. LeBlanc, in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular and ordinary course of business of the licensing board for contractors for this matter?
Yes.
We'll offer the exhibits into the record,
The exhibits are admitted.
and we submit the settlement offer for consideration.
Joseph moved to accept.
We have a motion and a second to accept. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
OJVEJV Inc. or any representatives present.
No representatives present.
OJVEJV Inc. of Waller, Texas is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's License on the Beals number 837 project in New Iberia, Louisiana in the amount of $58,000. This is their first appearance. They applied for a commercial license on March 19th of 2024. It's now expired.
Call John LeBlanc.
He's been sworn.
Mr. LeBlanc, in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular and ordinary course of business of the licensing board for contractors for this matter?
Yes.
We offer the exhibits into the record.
They're admitted.
According to the records, it appears that OJVEJV was provided with notice of this hearing and of its violation by certified mail. Is that correct?
Yes.
It also shows that the OJVEJV entered into an agreement to perform work on a commercial project in New Iberia, Louisiana, in the amount of $58,000. Is that correct? Yes. And that was a commercial project?
Yes.
And did not possess licensing with this board to perform that scope of work, is that correct?
That's correct.
We submit to the board that OJV EJV Inc. is in violation of Louisiana Contractors Licensing Laws for failure to possess necessary licensing with this board and performing work on a commercial project in the amount of $58,000. We ask that you find them in violation and issue the appropriate fines and costs.
Move to find them guilty.
To the second.
We have a motion and a second for guilty. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Move to find them $5,800 plus $1,000.
To the second.
We have a motion and a second for $5,800 plus $1,000 court. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Randy DePaula Electric LLC, or any representatives present?
No representatives present?
We have a settlement offer. Randy DePaula Electric LLC of Springfield, Louisiana is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for entering into a contract with an unlicensed contractor to perform electrical work on the Livingston Parish Coroner's Office project in Livingston, Louisiana, in the amount of $32,392.94. This is their second appearance. They were here July of 2023 for a license loan and entering into a contract with an unlicensed contractor, pled no contest, and paid $2,000. They've held a commercial license since April of 2010 and residential since May of 2017. They're offering a no contest plea, a $2,000 fine, and $1,000 cost.
Call Logan Cockerham.
Who's been sworn?
Mr. Cockerham, in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular ordinary course of business of the licensing board for contractors for this matter?
Yes, they were.
We'll offer the exhibits into the record.
They're admitted.
Submit the settlement offer for consideration.
You move to accept, what was his, excuse me,
We have a motion.
what was his offer?
$2,000 plus $1,000.
I move, accept.
Well, we got a motion already, so you're second?
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second to accept the offer of $2,000 plus $1,000 cost. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 5B.
ISS Equipment LLC, or any representatives present?
No representatives present?
ISS Equipment LLC of Hattiesburg, Mississippi is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform electrical work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's License on the Livingston Parish Coroner's Office project in Livingston, Louisiana, in the amount of $32,392.94. This is their first appearance. They have not applied yet, but indicated that they intend to. They're offering a no contest plea, a $1,000 fine, and $1,000 cost.
Call Logan Cockerham.
He's been sworn.
Mr. Cockerham, in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular ordinary course of business of the licensing board for contractors?
Yes, they were.
We'll offer the exhibits into the record.
They're admitted.
Submit the settlement offer for consideration.
Move to accept.
Temple second.
We have a motion and a second to accept. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Climate Pros LLC, are any representatives present?
No representatives present?
Climate Pros LLC of Glendale Heights, Illinois is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for entering into contracts with unlicensed contractors to perform work on the Walmart number 5327 project in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in the amount of $105,566. This is their second appearance. They were here March 18th of 2021 for entering into a contract with an unlicensed contractor, pled no contest, and paid $1,500. They've held a commercial license since January of 2020.
Call Ronald Dawsey.
He's been sworn.
Dawes, in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular ordinary course of business of the licensed board for contractors for this matter involving Climate Pros?
Yes, sir, they were.
We offer the exhibits into the record.
They're admitted.
Mr. Dawes, according to the records, it appears that Climate Pros was provided with notice of this hearing by certified mail and by an email notification from this board. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is.
And they have not appeared here today. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And according to the documents, it shows that they entered into contracts with 2 unlicensed contractors, one for $58,000 and another for $47,566. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And one involved HVAC work and the other one involved welding work. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So the total violation is $105,566. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And this was on a commercial project. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
We submit to the board that Climate Pros LLC is in violation of Louisiana Contractors Licensing Laws for entering into contracts with 2 unlicensed contractors in the total amount of $105,566. We ask that you find them guilty of the violation, issue the appropriate fines and costs.
Move to find guilty.
Temple second.
We have a motion and a second for guilty. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Penalty?
Move for max fine plus cost.
Second.
We have a max fine plus cost. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thunderbird Construction Management LLC, or any representatives present.
No representatives present.
Thunderbird Construction Management LLC of Weatherford, Texas is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's License on the Golden Chick Project in Lake Charles, Louisiana, in the amount of $285,000. This is their first appearance. They applied on January 2nd of 2025, and that application is pending.
Call Frank Vaughn.
Mr. Vaughn's been sworn.
Mr. Vaughn, in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular and ordinary course of business of the Licensing Board for Contractors for this matter involving Thunderbird Construction Management LLC?
Yes.
We offer those exhibits into the record.
They're admitted.
Mr. Vaughn, according to the records, it appears that Thunderbird Construction was provided with notice of its violation and of this hearing date by certified mail. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
It also appears that Thunderbird Construction entered into an agreement to perform work on a commercial project, that being Golden Chick in Lake Charles, Louisiana, without possessing license with this board to perform that commercial project. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the total amount of that contract was $285,000 as exhibited in Exhibit 2A. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
We submit to the board that Thunderbird Construction Management LLC is in violation of Louisiana contractors' licensing laws for failure to possess necessary licensing with this board to perform work on a commercial project in the amount of $285,000. We ask that you find them guilty of the violation, issue the appropriate fines and costs.
Move to find guilty. Lambert.
Temple second.
We have a motion and a second for guilty. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Penalty?
Well, max penalty and cost.
Temple second.
We have a motion for max fine plus cost. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
J&W Contractors, Inc., or any representatives present.
Good morning. Can you identify yourself for the record?
George Wall, WLL.
And do you have permission, do you have authority to speak on behalf of J&W Contractors Incorporated?
Yes, sir.
Can you raise your right hand and swear you in? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
J&W Contractors, Inc. of Baton Rouge, Louisiana is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for permitting the contractor's license to be used by another when the other contractor does not hold a license for the classification of work for which the contract is entered on the Space Place Mini Storage Project in Amite, Louisiana, in the amount of $601,880.06. This is their first appearance. They've held a commercial license since May of 1997 and residential since October of 2001.
Mr. Wall, how do you wish to plead?
No contest.
Okay.
Temple.
I'd like to make a slight statement, no contest.
You go ahead and
You'll have it, okay.
Temple, move to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the no contest plea. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Call Blaine Anderson.
He's been sworn.
Mr. Anderson, in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular ordinary course of business of the Licensing Board for Contractors for this matter?
Yes, they were.
We'll offer the exhibits into the record.
Mr. Wall, do you have any objection to these exhibits coming into the record?
No, sir.
They're admitted.
Mr. Anderson, it appears that from the documents that when you look at the total amount of $601,880.06 was taken when you add in the number of the 3 permits listed at pages 6, 7, and 8. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's how you came out. And those were listed with J&W Contractors, Inc. as the general contractor. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I have no further questions.
Mr. Wall, do you have any questions for this witness?
No, sir.
All right. Is there any evidence you want to introduce or make a statement to the board?
No, sir. I'm good.
Okay.
You want to make a statement?
Would you like?
Now's your time that you can make a statement about what happened.
The job, I
the person that done this job is my wife. It's my wife's nephew, not mine. But he added on to an existing deal out there. He came to me in October and asked me if I would, if I'd do the job for him. So, and while all this was going on, and I was getting permits, engineering permits, fire, and all this, well, he got real nervous because it was taking a bunch of time. And he went and done a lot of the work before I ever got the permits. I didn't get the permits until January. And by the time I got the permits and everything, and Mr. Anderson here, and they was calling, but he done the work before, he done a big part of this work before I ever was even, I was involved, but I didn't do nothing and allow him to do nothing. To do it, I didn't tell him to do until I got the permits. But he had done poured concrete, built the slab, and everything else before I ever got the permits because he said he had a ton of money tied up and he couldn't wait till we got the permits. And it took 2.5 months to get the permits. And
let me ask you a question. So when you went in this, your wife's nephew came and asked you to. You were supposed to build it, so I'm assuming that you're a general contractor.
I was going to be the contractor for him.
For him, okay. And you never intended to pull the permit and let him do the work.
Oh no, sir.
Okay, all right.
He wasn't going to do. He was not going to do the work. He hired me. I was going to do the work, but he went ahead and done the work. He's got storage buildings all over Mississippi, Louisiana. And he got the people, but the contractors he hired. He hired several contractors, Louisiana licensed contractors to do the work, but some of them wasn't. And but by the time I got on board and Mr. Anderson was trailing, it had got way out of whack, and he had done half the job by the time I ever even got the permits to do the job. And I didn't do nothing. I myself, my company did nothing on this site until we got the permits, and I had, through the fire marshal, I had to hire Warlaw and Lazane for all kind and then I had to get the permits from the parish.
So I got a question for you, and I'm going to ask Mr. Anderson. So you realize what you're being accused of with this, saying that you pulled the permits and let him do work. You saying that didn't happen?
The biggest majority of the work was done before I even got the permits. Look, I'm not, by no means, I know I've got to have permits to do it. I got to have fire marshal permits and I.
Gotcha. Let me cut you off 1 minute.
Mr. Tillett, let me, did we hear the case of the owner?
Yes, sir.
A couple months ago?
I just looked it up.
Yes, sir.
We disposed of the case prior to with his nephew or wife's nephew. Just to let you know, we've already found him in violation of acting as a contractor, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir. He was here in January.
Right. I just want to tie that back for the board, just to make sure.
That makes sense at all.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people have been fined already.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
What was your findings based on where we are right now?
So, routine. I went and pulled the permits, or I got the permits from the 10-0 building permit office. I saw there were 3 separate permits, 3 separate storage buildings. I went out and conducted my site visit. No one was there, so I sent a routine. Mr. Wall being the general contractor, I sent an email to his email address that's in our system saying, hey, I need a list of all your subcontractors. So when he sent that, I actually received that from Mr. Wells, who's his wife's nephew, which is a red flag right away. Why am I getting the subcontractor list? And then I've been communicating actually with Mr. Wall's wife. They were very cooperative. And she was being very cooperative. And she made some statements in her email were also red flags. Well, this is our nephew's project. You need to reach out to him. And this would be consistent with what Mr. Wall said. The nephew may have took it upon himself, hey, this is taking too long, I've got loans, I'm paying interest, I need to move forward, and that may be the case. So once I started requesting documents, and those documents started coming in, they were consistent, they were all billed to Kevin Wells, invoiced to Kevin Wells, contracts were signed between Kevin Wells and his business name, which was Blackwell Investments, or the Space Place Mini Storage. All the documents were consistent with going to Mr. Wells, and none of the Mr. Wall and J&W said, that's when I staffed the case with the supervisor, and we said, yeah, this appears to be a license loan. It appears that all that J&W did was apply for the permits, received the permits, and then Mr. Wells then took the project on. Now, I don't have the chronological, I don't know when the project started. The first day I went out there, I couldn't access the property. There was a gate. I could only see, there were 2 existing storage units. Looked like they were adding 3 more in the back, or 1 and then 2. I couldn't access. I was trying to look. It didn't look on that date like much work had been done at that point. But you know, and then it progressed from there.
So, Mr. Wall, did you do any work on this project?
After the permits were out, after I got the permits.
Did you issue any subcontracts?
Yes, ma'am. We got copies here. I said, look, I don't have nothing. I've done everything. I gave him everything that every time he requested something, and I gave him everything I got, and I'm not. Listen, I talked to him. He came to my house. I told him, the guy that used to be before him, Mr. Ellis Michael. I don't know if any of y'all knew Mr. Ellis Michael or not. He had the same job he had. I lived across the street from him for years. They knew me well down here years ago because it took me a bunch of times to pass all the tests.
Mr. Walls.
I wouldn't take nothing in my life.
We appreciate
everything.
He holds about five or six different licenses.
Yeah, holds all these licensing. You've been in no contest. You've been licensed since '97. They said this is your first appearance before the board. And so, with all that being said, we just gonna fine you $500 plus cost.
Thank you.
That's my motion.
That's the motion.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second for 500 plus costs. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
The wife's nephew. The wife's nephew. What did he get?
1,500 plus costs.
Yeah, and he was supposed to get licensed, wasn't he not? Or was he trying to, I'm trying to remember.
I think you're talking about Mr. Wells?
Yeah.
I think he was pretty much frustrated and said, I'm probably going to keep my business in Mississippi because that's where he's domiciled.
He said,
I think he had decided that he ventured south down to meet past the state line. I think he told y'all, I'm done with my business in Louisiana after this, but thank y'all.
right, and he was frustrated with the permitting process because it took so long, as I recall. Yeah, now it comes back to me. Thank you, sir.
Petrotech Plumbing LLC, are any representatives present?
Please identify yourself.
Jerry Petrich.
Petrich. And do you have authority to speak on behalf of Petrotech Plumbing LLC? All right, I need to swear you in. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Sir, what was your name again?
Jerry Petrovich.
Petrovich? All right, thank you, sir.
Petrotech Plumbing LLC of New Caney, Texas is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform plumbing work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's License on the Solar Farm Maintenance Building Project in Mer Rouge, Louisiana, in the amount of $17,355. This is their first appearance. They applied for the commercial license on September 17th of 2024. It is pending exams.
Mr. Petrovich, how would you like to plead today?
No contest.
Temple, move to accept.
To the second.
We have a motion and a second for no contest plea. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Call Wade Day.
He's been sworn.
Today in front of you, exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4, were they prepared in the regular ordinary course of business of the licensing board for contractors for this matter?
Yes, sir, they were.
We offer the exhibits into the record.
Mr. Petrovich, do you have any objection to these exhibits coming into the record?
Yes, sir.
They're admitted.
According to the records, Mr. Day, it appears that Petrotech Plumbing LLC entered into an agreement to perform work with Veritas Construction Group on a plumbing project in a total amount of $17,355. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And at the time didn't possess a plumbing license with this board, is that correct?
Correct.
And that was a commercial project, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, no further questions.
Mr. Petrovich, do you have any questions for this witness?
No, sir.
Okay. Would you like to introduce any evidence or make statements to the board?
No. I just like to make an offer. $1,000 plus costs.
Move to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Petrovich, I appreciate you coming in. Do you plan on doing any more work in the state?
Yes, sir. We filed for a license and submitted for our business to be registered.
All right.
The only problem you're gonna have is that you're not licensed as a master plumber in the state, so you really can't get a plumber's license until you go through that process.
Yes, sir.
You can get a commercial license, you just can't get you'd always have to hire a separate plumber.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Charles Danny White, are any representatives present?
No representatives present.
Charles Danny White of Pitkin, Louisiana is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's License on the Beauregard Parish District 3 Water Plant Project in DeRidder, Louisiana, in the amount of $315,468. This is his first appearance and he has not applied.
Call Frank Vaughn.
He's been sworn.
Mr. Vaughn, in front of you exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in ordinary and regular course of business of the Licensing Board for Contractors?
Yes, sir.
We'll offer those exhibits into the record.
They're admitted.
According to the records, it appears that Charles Danny White was provided with notice of this violation and of this hearing date by certified mail. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Also shows that Charles Danny White entered into an agreement to perform work on it looks like a public project. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
It involved electrical work. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And the total amount of that electrical work was $315,468. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
It appears from the documents that the labor on the project was $37,500 and the materials was $277,968. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And again, Charles Danny White did not possess licensing with this board. Is that correct?
Correct.
We submit to the board that Charles Danny White's in violation of Louisiana contractors' licensing laws, failure to possess necessary licensing with this board, and performing work on really it was a public project, which you could consider commercial, but it was municipal, in the amount of $315,468. We ask that you find him guilty of the violation, issue the appropriate fines and costs.
Motion find him guilty, Meredith.
Till the second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Guilty.
Max fine plus cost.
Till the second.
We have a motion for max fine plus cost. We also have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
O&A Concrete LLC, are any representatives present?
Can you identify yourself for the record? Can you speak in the mic for me?
Oscar Oliveira.
Oliveira?
Yes.
And do you have authority to speak on behalf of O&A Concrete LLC?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God?
Yes, sir.
Okay. O&A Concrete LLC of Scott, Louisiana is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's License on the Brian Thompson State Farm Office Project in Alexandria, Louisiana, in the amount of $60,682.59. This is their fourth appearance. They were here July 16th of 2020 for not having a license, pled no contest, and paid $1,500. They were here July 18th of 2024 for not having a license, pled no contest, fined $1,000 plus $1,000 to be reduced to $1,000 total if licensed within 120 days. The full amount of $2,000 was paid. They were here November 21st of 2024 for not having a license, pled no contest, fined $1,000 fine plus $1,000 cost to be reduced to $1,000 if licensed by December 27th of 2024. They paid the full amount of $2,000. They obtained their commercial license January 6th of 2025.
Mr. Oliveira, how do you wish to plead?
No contest.
No contest?
Move to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the no contest plea. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Call Andy Futrell.
He's been sworn.
Mr. Futrell, in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular ordinary course of business of the Licensing Board for Contractors?
They were.
We offer the exhibits into the record.
Do you have any objection to these exhibits coming to the record? They're admitted.
Mr. Futrell, according to the records, it appears that O&A Concrete LLC performed concrete work in the amount of $60,682.69 before they obtained a license, is that correct?
That is correct.
And that work was in the early part of 2024, is that correct?
That's correct.
But since they did perform that work, they have in fact obtained a license, is that correct?
That is correct.
Have no further questions.
Mr. Oliver, do you have any questions for this witness?
No.
Okay. Do you have any evidence, or do you want to make a statement to the board?
No.
Okay.
And I'll submit to the board for education purposes that these violations all occurred, most of them were in 2024. They do seem compounding. However, he has gotten his license as we requested that he do. And so from this point forward, it appears that he's going to be licensed, but these violations were all captured during the point in 2024 when he was not licensed.
And Counselor, it looks like he paid all the outstanding fines, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to just find the hearing costs.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for hearing costs. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion
Thanks,
carries.
sir.
So congratulations for getting your license, all right? Look forward to
Yeah,
work.
thanks for getting licensed. Appreciate it.
Number 12, Joel Rosario. Mr. Rosario called this morning and said that he has RSV and requested a continuance.
Thank you very much.
Move to rehear. All right, move to continue.
Yeah, continue. With a motion for continue. And a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
The next item is Florian Martinez, doing business as FMB Construction, or any representatives present.
No representatives present.
We have a settlement offer. Florian Martinez, doing business as FMB Construction of Slidell, Louisiana, is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's License on the Perry Style Homes project in Jefferson, Louisiana, in the amount of $111,240.65. This is their first appearance. They have not applied, but indicated that they intend to. They're offering a no contest plea, $1,000 fine, and $1,000 cost.
Call Darling Bork.
He's been sworn.
Board in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular ordinary course of business to license and work for contractors for this matter?
Yes, they were.
We'll offer the exhibits into the record.
They're admitted.
According to the records, it appears that, we submit the settlement offer for consideration.
Joseph, move to accept.
Till the second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 14.
Quincy Jennings, doing business as Plumline Plumbing, are any representatives present?
No representatives present.
Okay. Quincy Jennings, doing business as Plumline Plumbing of Gretna, Louisiana, is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform plumbing work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's License at 2007 Barone Street in New Orleans, Louisiana, in the amount of $24,500. This is his fourth appearance. Plumline Plumbing LC was before the board May 16th of 2019 for not having a license, pled no contest, offered a settlement of $1,500. That full amount was turned over to the Attorney General's office for collection. Mr. Jennings was before the board on July 18th of 2024 for not having a license, pled guilty, fined $1,280 plus $1,000 cost. That full amount is owed. He was here January 16th of 2025 for not having a license, found guilty, fined $1,055.40 plus $1,000 cost. That is still owed. He does have an active master plumber's license with the plumbing board. He has not applied with us.
Call Stephanie Boulanger.
Ms. Boulanger has been sworn.
Ms. Boulanger, in front of you, exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular and ordinary course of business of license and work for contractors for this matter?
They were.
We'll offer the exhibits into the record.
They're admitted.
According to the records, Ms. Boulanger, Quincy Jennings, doing business as Plumline Plumbing, was provided with notice of this hearing and of his violation by certified mail. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Also shows that Quincy Jennings, doing business as Plumline Plumbing, entered into an agreement to perform plumbing work on a project without possessing licensing with this board. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And according to the documents, it appears that total amount is $24,500, which includes $9,500 of labor plus materials. Is that correct?
You said it was 95 of?
Labor plus materials, is that correct?
I believe it's just the 95 was just labor.
Right. No, the $24,500 is $9,500 of labor, and then the rest is materials. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. We submit to the board that Quincy Jennings, doing business as Plumline Plumbing, is in violation of Louisiana Contractors Licensing Laws, for failure to possess licensing with this board and performing plumbing work in the total amount of $24,500. We ask that you find him and then we ask that you find him guilty of that violation and issue the appropriate fines and costs.
Find him guilty.
Second.
We have a motion for guilty. Any discussion? And we have a second as well. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Penalty?
Yeah, Dave, these guys are all coming out of New Orleans.
I know, I don't know why I'm here today.
I don't know.
Plumbers from New Orleans.
Temple second.
We have a motion and a second for max fine plus cost. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Premier Energy Concepts LLC, are any representatives present?
No representatives present.
Premier Energy Concepts LLC of Covington, Louisiana is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform electrical work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's License on the Alpine First Baptist Church, doing business as Alpine Christian School Project in Pineville, Louisiana, in the amount of $31,705.75. This is their second appearance. They were here July 18th of 2024 for not having a license. They offered a settlement of a no contest plea and $2,000. That full amount is still owed and has been turned over to the Attorney General's Office for collection. They have not applied.
Call Andy Futrell.
Mr. Futrell's been sworn.
Mr. Futrell, in front of you, exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular and ordinary course of business of the licensing board for contractors for this matter?
They were.
We offer the exhibits into the record.
They're admitted.
Mr. Futrell, according to the documents, it appears that Premier Energy was provided with notice of this hearing and of its violation by certified mail. Is that correct?
That's correct.
The documents also show that Premier Energy entered into an agreement and performed construction work, that being electrical work, in the total amount of $31,705.75 on, I guess, the Baptist Church project. Is that correct?
It was for a school project at the church on, that's correct.
Church-owned project, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And a commercial project, is that correct?
That is correct.
And at the time did not possess licensing with this board to perform that electrical work, is that correct?
That is correct.
We submit to the board that Premier Energy Concepts LLC is in violation of Louisiana contractors licensing laws for failure to possess necessary licensing with this board in performing electrical work on a commercial project in the amount of $31,705.75. We ask that you find them guilty of the violation and issue the appropriate fines and costs.
Motion, find them guilty.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Penalty?
Maximum fine plus cost.
All right. We have a motion and a second for maximum fine plus cost. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Blanco Construction LLC, are any representatives present?
No representatives present.
Blanco Construction LLC of Harvey, Louisiana is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's License on the Fleur-de-Lis Law and Title Company renovation project in New Orleans, Louisiana, in the amount of $71,713.21. This is their second appearance. They had 2 cases before the residential committee yesterday for not having a license. They were found guilty for both cases and fined the maximum amount for each. The total balance owed is $17,300. They've held a home improvement registration since June 13th of 2023, but have not applied for a commercial license.
Call Joseph Anderson.
He's been sworn.
Mr. Anderson, in front of you, exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular ordinary course of business of the licensing board for contractors for this matter involving Blanco Construction?
They were.
We offer the exhibits into the record.
They're admitted.
According to the records, Mr. Anderson, it appears that Blanco was provided with notice of its violations and of this hearing by certified mail. Is that correct?
That's correct.
The documents also show that Blanco entered into an agreement to perform work on a commercial project in the amount of $71,713.20. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And at the time did not possess licensing with this board to perform work on a commercial project. Is that correct?
That's correct.
It appears that they held a home improvement registration, but that this was a commercial project. Is that correct?
That is correct.
We submit to the board that Blanco Construction LLC is in violation of Louisiana contractors licensing laws for failure to possess necessary licensing with this board and performing work on a commercial project in the amount of $71,713.21. Is 21 or 20? 21 cents. Ask that you find them guilty of the violation and issue the appropriate fines and costs.
Tillage moved to find guilty.
Temple second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Question for you. Can you repeat the fines? Is this the previous Blanco as well that was on the two plumber case?
Yes.
And you're saying they had a couple of residential violations?
Yesterday, yes.
And they got previous unpaid?
That's from yesterday.
That's from yesterday,
yesterday.
so they probably hadn't even received the notice yet.
No.
Yeah, no, they.
Okay, all right. I just want to clarify that. All right. All right. What are which is on the filming?
Tillis move for max fine plus cost.
Temple second.
We have a motion for max fine plus cost. We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
The next item is Kevin Ingram, Marlon Williams, or any representatives present.
Can you state your name for the record?
Kevin Williams.
If you would, I swear you hand. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Let the record reflect that he did not swear, but he does agree to tell the truth?
Yeah, that works.
All right.
Okay. Kevin Ingram, Marlon Williams of Metairie, Louisiana, is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for misrepresentation of fact by applicant in obtaining a license, problems related to the ability of the contractor to engage in the business of contracting, and for conviction of a crime or the entering of a plea of guilty or nolo contendere to a criminal charge related to the construction business. This is the first appearance for Mr. Williams. He is a member and qualifying party for Spark Operation and Heavy General Construction, LLC. They have been before the board twice. They were here on October 14th of 2020 for 2 cases for not having a residential license, pled no contest, fined $19,252.57 plus $1,000 in costs to be reduced to $500 and $500 if licensed within 90 days. An NSF check in the amount of $893.86 was issued to the board, and the remainder of the outstanding fine was turned over to the Attorney General's Office for collection. That fine was paid in full on November 7th of 2023. Spark was here again on November 15th of 2023 for not having a license, found guilty, fined $13,923.83 plus $1,000 cost. He entered into a payment plan, but issued the board another NSF check on November 22nd of 2024 in the amount of $621.83. $10,621.02 has been turned over to the Attorney General's Office for collection. Spark held a residential license from March 22nd of 2023 until December 4th of 2024, and was revoked for failure to comply with a conditional license agreement. They held a commercial license March 14th of 2023 until December 4th of 2024, when it was revoked for failure to comply with a conditional license agreement. They held another commercial license from April 21st, the first one was April 21st of 2009 until July 11th of 2022, when it was revoked for failure to comply with a conditional license agreement. This license was suspended from December 2nd of 2015 until December 9th of 2016 for unpaid child support. It was revoked August 15th of 2017 for an unpaid judgment and reinstated in September 2017. It was suspended October 20th of 2017 until March 8th of 2021 for unpaid child support. And according to the DCFS website, Mr. Williams currently owes $45,975.40 in overdue child support.
Mr. Williams, how do you wish to plead?
Not guilty, but my attorney really is supposed to be here, so this is a lot of stuff for me to take on. I don't really understand a lot of stuff. But I called my attorney, and he was saying he's trying to get back with him so we can actually come before the board, so he can explain a lot of stuff, because I don't understand a lot of it, and I don't want to sit here before y'all act like I do.
Okay, so we have a plea of not guilty and a request for continuance. Is that what that sounds like?
Yeah, because I just got this whole packet, and I wasn't here November 23rd, November 23rd. I didn't come in. I just accepted the fine and about the charge or whatever, and I just was paying. And
you saying you didn't come here for those?
No, I didn't even know I had.
Yeah, well, it was obviously properly served, though we wouldn't have had the hearing. So just want to let you know that. So
I didn't get an email or nothing certified to my email.
Well, all right. Well, look, there's a request for continuance.
Yeah.
Is,
So at this point, I mean, the reason we're here is relates to his QP status, okay? He is not currently a QP on any company.
Yep.
So we're willing to give him a 1 month continuance. As long as if he applies for a QP on anything during this month, he's not going to get it.
Yeah.
So if you want to bring an attorney, we have a 1 month. What's our next hearing date?
Yeah. So to be clear, it's going to be next month. It'll be next month. You'll have that, but you shouldn't be doing any work.
No, right now I'm not doing anything. When I contacted Mr. Sean Bivers and he told me I had to shut down business.
Yeah. All right. I want to make sure of that.
So it's what date?
April 17th.
April 17th is the next date at 9:30.
Okay.
It's a commercial hearing. So do you acknowledge that you're going to be here, or that you're accepting service today?
Yeah, I'm accepting service today. Me and my attorney will be on the 17th next month.
Okay.
All
right. So your hearing is going to come forward on the 17th. Okay. All right. So now we need just to continue it to the 17th.
Move to continue.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for continuance to the next meeting, April meeting. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Osman Funes, doing business as Master Plan Plumbing, or any representatives present?
No representatives present.
Osman Funes, doing business as Master Plan Plumbing of New Orleans, Louisiana, is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform plumbing work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's license on the two-family dwelling new construction project in New Orleans, Louisiana, in the amount of $17,500. This is their first appearance. They have not applied. Master Plan Plumbing, Inc. has a master plumber's license with the Plumbing Board. However, the individual on that license is Renee Lang. They're offering a no contest plea, $1,000 fine, and $1,000 cost.
Call Joe Anderson.
He's been sworn.
Mr. Anderson, in front of you, exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular ordinary course of business with the licensing board of contractors for this matter?
They were.
We'll offer the exhibits into the record.
They're admitted.
Submit the settlement offer for consideration.
Joseph. Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the settlement offer. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next.
Precision Metal SWLA LLC, or any representatives present?
Good morning. Can you state your name for the record?
Brittany Spell.
Spell. And do you have authority to speak on behalf of Precision Metal SWLA LLC?
I do.
Okay, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Precision Metal SWLA LLC of Sulphur, Louisiana, is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's license on the Health Wellness Building Project in DeQuincy, Louisiana, in the amount of $91,607.80. This is their second appearance. They were here May 18th of 2023 for not having a license, found guilty, fined $9,042.27 plus $1,000 administrative costs. They entered into a conditional license agreement on October 10th of 2023. They are current on their payments. The balance owed is $1,115.87. They held a home improvement registration from October 18th of 2020 until October 18th of 2024 when it expired. They applied for a commercial license on October 9th of 2024. It is pending, and a residential license on July 16th of 2024, which is also pending.
Ms. Spell, how do you wish to plead?
No contest.
Okay. Tell we'll move to accept.
Till the second.
Motion and a second for accept no contest. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Call Frank Vaughn.
He's been sworn.
Mr. Vaughn, in front of you, exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular and ordinary course of business of the licensing board for contractors for this matter involving Precision Metal?
Yes, sir.
We offer the exhibits into the record.
Ms. Spell, do you have any objection to these exhibits coming to the record?
I do not.
They're admitted.
Mr. Vaughn, according to the records, it appears that Precision Metal entered into an agreement to install and erect an electric metal building for the total amount of $91,607.80. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I guess at the time they did not possess licensing with this board. Is that correct?
Correct.
No further questions.
Ms. Spell, do you have any questions for this witness?
No questions, no.
Okay, is there any evidence you want to submit or make a statement to the board?
Yes, please. On March 27th of 2023, customer Kayla Gaspar came to me with a drawing of a building and asked us, she wanted to buy it, she already purchased it, she wanted us to erect it. On that day, I submitted her a quote of $18,173 for a storage building erection for some property that was in a rural area of DeQuincy, Louisiana. Months later, on September 19th of 2023, Ave Maria Construction reached out to me, which under my impression, they're a general contractor. They wanted the quote that I had submitted, but they asked me to add the price of the building in there, which I did. And I submitted that. And they pulled a permit, and here we are.
Yeah. So you understand the materials and labor?
I do now. I do understand that. At the time, whenever we originally met with the customer, which she called and asked us to send this to Ave Maria, I didn't know it was going to be a commercial building. She already had the building. I didn't know the price of the building. It was, hey, I have this building, I just want to erect it. I did not know it was commercial. If it was, I would have told her right away we couldn't do it. I really didn't know I was doing anything wrong until Mr. Frank reached out.
And we've got pending residential and commercial licensure?
Yes, sir.
All right, and it's just pending disposition of this particular case?
No, sir.
Okay.
It's my fault. Also, I keep on putting my husband through classes that he's not studying for.
Okay.
I put him through the NASLA test. I had him studying for the NASLA test for 15 states, and I didn't know it. And then I finally got him for commercial building, so he could have our GC and then also residential with that. And I had him studying residential, so he failed with a 68. So, you know, I'm just putting my husband through the ringer.
So, yes, ma'am, what I would like to make a motion for is to fine you $9,000 plus $1,000. If you get licensed within 120 days, we will reduce that to $1,000 plus $1,000.
Do you mind if I say one more thing? We did not accept any money. There was no money that was changed on this as well. I never got to that. I just want to let you know, like, there was no money exchanged.
Okay.
I would like to ask you a question. Do you plan on erecting buildings and doing this? This is why you're going?
Yes, sir. We do. We want to extend our business, and that's why we are trying to get our license. We want to do like turnkey barn dominiums and things like that, and I just keep giving my husband the wrong test.
All right. We have a motion for 1,000 plus, I guess it's 9,000, whatever that number was he quoted. $9,160?
Yeah, make it 180 days.
Okay, which would be reduced to 1,000 plus 1,000 if they were licensed within 180 days. Do we have a second? We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, statutory citations.
They have all been paid. Do you want to read that?
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put in the statutory citations into the record, even though they've all been paid. Thompson Properties, LLC, docket 2024-0363-01. Veritas Construction Group, LLC, 2024-0819-01. Fisk Plumbing LLC, 2024-0716-01. KC Electric Inc., 2024-0794-01. New Sprout Construction LLC, 2024-0784-01. David Levy's Air Conditioning LLC, 2024-0652-02. Jameson Landscaping and Maintenance LLC, 2024-0476-01. Vista Electric LLC, 2024-0097-03. Max Out Renovation Specialist LLC, 2024-0668-01. We offer all those exhibits into the record in Globo on those matters.
Move to accept all statutory citations.
Joseph, second.
We have a motion and a second to accept all statutory citations. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right, I know we've disposed of the other, the typical reports and board business.
We still have continuances.
I'll get back to this. I'm ready to move on. Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, item F1, Leonard Construction and Remodeling LLC. Are any representatives present?
Flip past that page. So,
No representatives present.
We do have a settlement offer.
all right.
Leonard Construction and Remodeling LLC of Shreveport, Louisiana is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for acting as a contractor to perform work without possessing a Louisiana State Contractor's License on the St. Terre New Building Project in Benton, Louisiana, in the amount of $375,816. This is their first appearance. They held a residential license from August 17th of 2011 until March 5th of 2025 when it was suspended for failure to maintain insurance. They have not applied for a commercial license. They're offering a no contest plea, $1,000 fine, and $1,000 cost.
Call David Ham.
He's been sworn.
Mr. Ham, in front of you are exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular and ordinary course of business for the licensing board for contractors?
Yes, sir.
We'll offer those exhibits into the record.
They're admitted.
We submit the settlement offer for consideration.
Move to accept.
A motion and a second to accept the settlement offer. Any discussion? Did we have a second? We didn't have
Till the second.
I'm sorry, I said Mr. Dillon. I apologize. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. F2.
The next item is Jesse Carr Sr. Mr. Carr contacted us yesterday. He's having some medical issues and requested a continuance.
All right.
Temple move to continue.
We have a motion and a second for continuance. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
So the last item will be G1, Valglow Construction Company. Are any representatives present?
Good morning. Could you identify yourself for the board?
Lloyd Shields, representing Valglow Construction.
Do you want to rehear?
Yes, sir, please.
I'm making a motion to rehear.
Joseph, second.
We have a motion and a second for rehearing. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Let's rehear.
Valglow Construction Company of New Orleans, Louisiana is before you today for consideration of an alleged violation for permitting the contractor's license to be used by another when the other contractor does not hold a license for the classification of work for which the contract is entered on the hotel room renovation project at 501 Decatur Street in New Orleans, Louisiana, in the amount of $472,000. This is their first appearance. They've held a commercial license since September of 1997. They're offering a no contest plea, $1,000 fine, and $1,000 cost.
Call Stephanie Boulanger.
She's been admitted. She's been sworn.
Ms. Boulanger, in front of you, exhibits number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Were they prepared in the regular ordinary course of business of the licensing board for contractors?
They were.
We offer the exhibits into the record.
Do you have any objection? These exhibits are admitted.
We submit the settlement offer for consideration.
What were the stipulations of the case? What happened? Sorry, I'm missing.
What were the facts?
Yeah, what are the facts of it?
Okay, so Valglow is licensed. They're licensed general contractor, have their commercial license. However, Hotel Management of New Orleans made payments, so it's a license loan.
Okay.
This is the case that was before the board last month where it's the same people.
Yeah.
But it's the same people, okay.
Yes.
I move to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, what is, Right. Some new business. Let's talk about a few things if you don't mind. Get your input. There's been we tend to do we read the reports. If you look at the applications for additional classifications and other things and exemptions.
I'm sorry, Mr. Farrar would like to clarify something.
Okay.
Sorry, just briefly, I made a mistake earlier in the case. Kevin Ingram Marlon Williams, I said that he entered a plea of no contest and asked for continuance outside the presence of his attorney. Obviously, yeah, there's no plea, just a continuance, just for the record. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Mr. House.
I'm trying to get everybody out that had other things to do.
Yeah. Well,
that's the guy that swore, he didn't swear. To tell the truth, he just said, I was.
In his defense, the correct way to phrase it is swear or affirm, and I didn't say that, I said swear. He called it, said he doesn't swear, he would just agree to tell the truth.
That's the proper way to do it. They do it in court all the time. You swear or affirm, so that's the way you do it.
Yeah, he was right. I mean,
he's fine. Yeah, I mean, that's
right.
I just thought he was so strange.
Yeah, understand. All right, well, just remind everybody, we still are live streaming too as well. But just to optimize our time here, there are a couple of things that we do, and while it's good, but in an effort to both save time and paper resources, if you look at, you'll have to look around behind you, but if you look at your last agenda item, if you will, where we go through additional classifications, new applications and those things, by, I guess, statute and otherwise, when they meet all the qualifications, they are in fact approved.
Essentially
approved.
If I could clarify.
Yeah.
Just as an example, when you gentlemen and ladies, let's use J5, consideration of commercial applications as listed and attached. If you also note there's an asterisk somewhere on that page that says, as soon as all
pending all requirements
being met.
You do not have the ability to deny an application except in very limited circumstances.
Right.
To begin with. So what you're doing here is really ceremonial. It's about 45 pages of typed paper that somebody has to prepare, and y'all have to read through. And you're already aggravated and tired typically at the end of the hearing, and you got to read through this nonsense. 80% of those have already issued. Y'all granted the staff authority to do that every year since I've been here.
Yeah,
it's a moot point. So what we're suggesting, and we talked about this one in the executive committee meeting, the only true approval that is required of the board that's not statutorily controlled is that of the exemption committee. What we were suggesting is perhaps that we develop some language that allows you to bless everything that essentially has already been approved and include that in with the exemption approval process in itself. We can get rid of all this.
Yeah, just a general statement approving all those things that have gone through the process, if you will. And I'll open that up. If there's any strong feelings regarding that, I would like us to move in that direction.
I see Ms. Brown has a quizzical face, so I wanted to address that.
No, well, my question is, I understand we don't need to approve it, but does it still need to go in the record that these, do we still need to?
It has to be published according to statute.
Okay.
It's published before it's on your agenda.
Yeah.
So we're meeting all statutory requirements now. This is just a step that I think is carried on through the years. You know how everybody hates it, it's always been that way. This is one of those that's always been that way, and it just takes a lot of paper.
And we do away with all that.
And y'all not reading them all anyway. You say page 7 starting at Apple to page 73.5.
Yeah.
So what about the considerations of the residential subcommittee actions?
Sir?
What about the consideration of the residential
subcommittee? Ratify that because they are truly
subcommittee, right.
That's what I was thinking.
So theoretically, we do the residential ratification of the residential actions. We do a general statement regarding all applications, if you will, and we'll have the reading of the exemptions.
Right.
And that should be.
That should be it. And as further clarification, in January, we changed the way we present the exemptions, if you will. We used to say brown ink is exempt. We don't have the ability, nor do you, to exempt an entity where you're exempting an individual from the trading name. So if you notice now you're seeing individual names. You're seeing Kristen Brown, Brian Orville, and blah, blah, blah. On the side, we will continue to say representing what company, but we're actually doing the exemption for the individual's trading name.
Right. Cool. Any issues with that? Nope. All right. Well, all right. One other item I'd like to discuss is when we have a practice, or I guess history's been that when folks don't appear for hearing without giving proper notice, our fines will generally be max fine plus costs. And I would say 9 out of 10 times, if not more, we end up rehearing those, or at least get the attention and they come back. And you did just now. And you see those fines come a little closer than the typical. Now, we obviously want people to come here. That's what we want to encourage. And I'm not telling you that we should probably have the same fine as those that do show up. And some feel there's a practice for some contractors, skirting the law and getting through the smaller fines, and it's profitable to them to do that. But I would say that instead of the max fine, and Brad, remind me again of licensed contractors, what is the max fine on commercial and residential?
Well, it's 10%. It's 10% of the violation value.
So we can all do the math on 10%. When we get into the fractions, we get a little more difficult when we're on the spot. But I would say that where we see those, we may want to adjust those down where, one, we don't have to rehear, and it may be at a point where maybe they pay that fine, and we don't have to rehear, if you will, and maybe it's not worth them calling a lawyer to go do all the thing. I'm not sure how much that last lawyer cost them, but it probably cost them
probably more than $1,000.
Yeah.
But so let me just interject another side note, and I just thought of it, we didn't talk about it before. When y'all assess a extreme penalty, if you will, and it heads towards collection at the Attorney General's office, typically we don't get that money anyway. First of all, remember, we pay a 25% finder's fee if you for them to grab it. And if the fine's $40,000, they're going to make an offer to the AG's office to settle for 20, and we typically take that because we don't have anything.
Yeah. So, and a lot of those sometimes if they're particularly out-of-state contractors, sometimes they say, well, I won't pay and I won't go back to Louisiana. So I would ask you guys to consider, and we've tried to be consistent about fines. I think we've been fairly close.
You've been very, very much better than you were 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
over the last year plus 2 years, we've tried for some consistency, if you will. And while there are always nuances to the case, but I would ask us to consider maybe looking at, and I think Mr. Temple attempted on one of those cases today to do one of those, and you guys approved a fine that was lesser than max, if you will. And so just think about that. And there's no magic number, and I'm not asking you to put that, but whether we do 1,000 plus 1,000, maybe it's maybe it's something else. Maybe it's 2,500 or 3,000. I don't know.
I think, Mr. Chair, I have go ahead. So that brings me back to why I reduced it. Well, couple scenarios. I've got a guy who's had, not this guy, but the guy before had 4 or 5
multiple offenders. That's a different animal.
No. But he hasn't paid, and he doesn't have a license. And he's running, but I think the plumber or whoever, this guy has 4 different.
Let's not talk about any cases that have been presented here today, just in the abstract.
So hypothetically, if I have a guy that's coming before us, and the guy is constantly getting fined for doing the same amount of work, which he doesn't have a license for, what can we do? I mean, master plumber, say he's a master plumber, but he's not doing it.
We can't stop violators from being violators. Even if they're not licensed by this board, they can continue doing what they do. We continue fining them. And at some point in time, if they commit fraud, you know, maybe they get taken care of in another venue. But if they're not licensed, we can only.
Let me share this with you, Mr. Lizzie. It may help you a little bit. Anytime a contractor, commercial, residential, mold, home crew, whatever, acts as a contractor without a license, it is in some form or fashion a violation of the criminal statute.
Okay.
We refer all residential type things to someone for prosecution. It works a little differently on the commercial side of things, and it is at the discretion of the district attorney whether he wants to choose that or not. Some do, some don't. I think some of the DAs are probably not interested, is how it appears. But we push that envelope as far as we can. And I just want you to understand that. But we, like Mr. Cook said, I can't stop you from speeding on the interstate no matter how many times I let you take it.
Right.
Yeah. In fairness, if we decide to stop giving the max on folks that don't show up, to protect the board, administration, we still need to figure out so that we can be uniform across the board. Well, whatever, we can't say, you know, one number for this person or one number for that person. We need to figure it out, and it needs to be consistent across the board. And that was the reason we went to max across the board, is that so that we would stay uniform. So whatever we decide to do moving forward, I would just ask that it could be a percentage. You know, make it
along those lines, my concern is if staff is going through the arduous task of getting them noticed and properly served, and if they don't communicate with staff, they don't do anything to say why I'm not going to appear or why I can't appear. It seems like that if we flip it too much, it puts the onus more on us, and the onus should be on the people who violate the law. You know what I mean?
I got you.
And so that's my concern. I mean, we wade into, to your point, we wade into some difficult waters here if we assess them all differently. But if you don't show up, if you don't respond, you know, I practice law for a living, for example. And if you don't come to court, the judge doesn't want to hear what your issue was. If you don't reach out to the secretary or the clerk or something and say, hey, my grandmother passed away or something, I have a flat tire on I-10, you know, there needs to be some.
I think where the trouble comes in, and y'all certainly may feel differently, is usually your max penalties are not $255,000.
But sometimes they are.
But sometimes y'all have done that. And I think that's what we're trying to stay away from. And certainly, I believe that all the circumstances involved in previous violations,
right,
communications, it's consideration. The one thing that we're painfully aware of, and y'all just wrote a check for $155,000 to the Department of Justice to protect you from antitrust suits where you treat everybody equitably. So we need to make that effort.
We need to treat everybody equitably.
A max penalty and a maximum of $25,000.
That's up to you.
Well, what did you say?
What do you think? Yesterday we come up with a number that would eliminate when you get to so high.
Cap it.
I like the max penalty, to be honest. I think you made a very good point, but if you get to a point where, let's just say it's $25,000 on max.
Chances you get that slim.
Yeah. But as a GC, and most of these big penalties are going to be on a GC.
A national chain or
That's,
something like
yeah,
that.
As a local GC, I don't want to set up or perpetuate a pattern of, look, we're just going to do one in Louisiana. Mm-hmm. It's cost effective for us just to violate the law and get a 1,000, or even a 20,000 and 1,000. A lot of times they're coming in and I don't want to set up a situation where it's cost beneficial for them not to apply for that license, not to follow the rules that we all have to follow, and
no.
And so that's that concerns me.
I think we see that. I think we see people just writing into their Until it costs folks, hey, I'll pay 25, yeah.
Yeah, so if we set it too low,
Well, it doesn't have to be too low. It has to be, I mean, we got to discourage it. Obviously, that's why we have the penalty. That's why we that's why we raised the penalty for licensed contractors. I mean, before it was 1,000 plus 1,000 was all you could get.
Can I tell them the particular circumstance?
Yes, yes.
There was and Mr. Leonard made a very valid point, thank you, that we should not discuss a case. There was a extremely large gas and oil project in a parish just north of here that has a population of about 5 people these days.
Yeah.
It was in the billions of dollars. The contractor, the general contractor on such a project, perhaps appeared 7 to 9 times that year for hiring a licensed sub. That general contractor at the time paid $1,000 as a penalty and a $250 cost and walked away.
Yeah.
Easy for them. The trouble is the subs, as Ms. Brown pointed out, this is a huge project, y'all. The subcontracts were in the millions of dollars.
Right.
And these guys and girls are paying $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 if they showed up. And they're assessed, the one of them was assessed $850,000 per hour. By the way, it was never collected. So, and that's exactly why everybody's treated the same. The law used to clearly say that a licensed contractor could be fined no more than $1,000.
What I'm here to tell you is, I understand the incentive for getting people up here, so we want to maintain that.
Right.
But I don't remember any case where we've collected a max fine of any substance.
And just bear in mind too, even if it goes for collection, they're gonna offer something.
Yeah, so- And I don't know what that magic number is. Maybe we address it on a percentage basis, and maybe it's a cap, you know, for whatever. Maybe it's 25. I mean, maybe it's instead of 10%, it's 3%, you know, and maybe it's up to X amount per millions of dollars. I don't know.
I like the idea of keeping it at 10% up to a certain amount. Let's say it gets up to $250,000, $500,000. That's a $50,000 fine. That caps it at that.
Well, but
Same
even
as that.
well, 10% is not necessarily up to a point. Is not fair. It's not equitable. You know, I'm a flat tax guy.
Move that down, then? Wait, would you move that down?
Yes, could we do this?
Yeah, we
Could you
could.
come back?
2%, yeah.
Yeah.
Could you just come back with the data? Give me the data of what's getting paid. You know, and if we could pull that together, we'll have it.
Well, let me share something with you right now.
You got some data on
I got
today's
some raw
meeting.
data for you right now, and I think that I know what you're looking for more specifically. I can tell you right now, this agency since 2016 has referred over $14 million to the AG's Office for Collection. Last month I got a check for $1,220, $1,100. There's still $12 million out there for collection.
So the average that's getting paid for us.
We collect probably the commercial board and residential board assessed penalties, right? And William and I talked about this a little while ago, several months ago. They assess more per case, dollar value per case. Y'all assess a little bit less. They're very much harder than you guys are. The collection ratio still is about 50%.
Yeah.
What's collected versus what's assessed.
Okay.
Some of that is you're never going to collect it for the guy that doesn't care. You're never going to collect anything out of Texas because the law doesn't work very well there for collection processes. But some of them are just huge things, and sometimes you're killing the guy who wants to do right, but he can't pay a $40,000 fine. He makes $40,000 a year.
Yeah, but the question is, just like for me, when a guy shows up and he has his work clothes on and, you know, he comes in, I've got a different dynamic. You know, it's a whole different feel for that particular guy. Who's like, man, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Because we're all contractors, we all want to help.
I understand.
But the guy that comes up, the ones that's the pump his ass, all right, he's always going to get it. And then the other guy that just says, I'm not coming. You know, that's what I have. Because we see both cases.
And look, we see it way before you see it.
Yeah.
Right? Just bear that in mind. The only thing that I would like to add from staff's point of view is it's challenging, and I think it would be impossible if not illegal, and I'm sure the lawyers are listening, especially when I brought that word up, is I don't know that you can say it is our practice, it's a resolution, it's a motion that we're gonna do this and this and this, because you're supposed to. You
gotta hear each case.
You gotta hear each case on its
Merits of each case.
I think what Mr. Kluas is trying to address is maybe you guys need to think about a level of reasonably moving forward. And to sidetrack you just a minute, I feel like I have to throw this out there, Mr. Kluas. So
go ahead.
I mean, you can. You've yelled at me before, I'm okay. He's been right every time. I think sometimes that y'all lose track of what your true abilities are. And I say lose track of it. It appears that we are focused on the collection of funds, one way or the other. Of course, funds create the environment that we all live and work in here, because we are 100% self-funded. But if you assess a $15,000 penalty with a $1,000 cost, collect it or not, $1,000 comes here.
Yeah.
Right? See, today you had 25, 26 cases. So if everybody pays, we're at $25,000, $26,000 collected. I can assure you that you're probably closer to $100,000 to prepare for this day, to get to this day. So the enforcement side is always a loser. Bear that in mind. But what's your real mission here? Is it to collect money, or is it to protect the integrity of the community and your industry?
Consumer protection.
And I'm going to be cautious because Kevin has reminded us of that. We have seen cases where someone or some entity has appeared before this body 6 times in 3 years on a license loan. And then this is one where I got in trouble. And y'all find the guy $2,500 and $1,000 costs and send him down the road. Guess who's coming back in the next 2 months?
Him.
Him. My point there and where I got in trouble is I asked point blank, how many license loans does it take before you take some adverse action against him? I don't think that you're in the business of putting anybody out of business. That shouldn't be what you should do. You should be working towards compliance with laws to keep everybody in the same playing field, per se. But don't forget, you have the ability.
Suspension and revocation.
It doesn't have to come from Sean or Joe or I. Y'all can do it on every single case. Now, if you start doing it on first offenses, we're going to have some challenges. But there are some things that come forth to you that you have the ability to impact positively your industry and every local community that's getting screwed over by these folks.
Yes.
You can suspend for 29 years, 26 days, 7 hours, whatever you order, we can do. You can use those in the cases that it fits. I'm proposing to you a multiple egregious violation that comes back and comes back and comes back. You find the guy $2,500, I promise you he made $25,000 on the job, and we can prove that. The job he didn't do.
I got you.
Well, and the other thing is that 90% of the ones that come before you on the commercial board are not complaint related. Okay?
Yeah.
They're investigator related. Now the residential board, 100% are complaint related.
You don't have time to do randoms on
those.
those.
So there's completely a difference when it's coming to you on this commercial board from the residential board. And so that's why the residential board, a lot of times, we treat it a little differently than here, because it is a complaint and someone has actually been damaged or saying they've been damaged, as opposed to here is investigator related. And there might not be a complainant. They might be perfectly satisfied with the job that was performed.
Right.
But they still haven't been licensed. So our job here is let's get those people licensed, or let's get them not to do some of the things they're doing.
But bear in mind too, and I see you both. I'm sorry for taking so long, but I think it's good we have these discussions. Is Kevin said he's correct. Most of the cases you see are, I hate to say random, but they're randomly generated. They grab a job off a permit list, or they drive by and they see a building going up and they look at it. However, a lot of the cases that you do see, I would say 20% or so, are complaint related some kind of way. Either from a competitor who got beat by a guy who doesn't hold the proper license, or from a municipality that's having some challenges because of the way that the work is going on. You will see some of those next month, I promise you, and they do have damages in the millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. we're quick to point across the pond to New Orleans, where some of you choose to live for God, whatever reason. But it happens here. Sir?
Traffic's not bad.
Yeah, you're right. But it happens here in Baton Rouge. It happens in Shreveport. In the last few years, we started off in New Orleans with some challenges related to a case that you may or may not have handled today, with corruption of building officials and city officials and blah, blah, blah. That's everywhere. We now have cases at the federal level in every major city in the state.
Right.
So those are the things we're trying to do.
Yeah, well, we're seeing those things. Right.
Yeah, but bear in mind, that's what I'm saying, and not to dispute what Kevin's saying, but there are real monetary damages that affect every taxpayer here for some of the things that you do. Finding the guy $2,500 and he made $1 million on a job that he didn't do, and the city's paying $2 million to fix, what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, again, it's difficult, to hear a 5-minute case here to do that, but we got to pay attention. That's what's part of it. Dave?
I was here, I served in the 90s and early 2000s, and I didn't realize that the max penalty was 10%. And I should have.
It was not at the time.
I should have prepared myself better when I came, actually.
That was 2018, it changed.
Yeah.
So what I would say, though, is if we had a graduated, like the first so many was 10, but then we collected I forget what the percentage was on a multi-million-dollar case in Shreveport, where they actually paid, I think it was 1.5%, and we got the money, got their attention, stopped the job. And I actually, when I came here for the first time, I thought it was very, very complimentary of how y'all handled it. But I think if we got a recommended graduated case that would send a message and also hit those guys where we can pay, would be
it would be, and I'll tell you, back in probably 2016, maybe 14, 16, what was that? Yeah, we actually did a kind of we analyzed our fines, and we were very inconsistent. We're much more consistent now, but we were going to go through the recommendation of, hey, first offense, second offense, those kinds of things, which is standard procedure in law, right? The sentences, but at the end of the day, there were some that didn't feel strongly about that, and we decided not to do that. But I think what we've done is we've become a little closer. But I appreciate that. We might
I think what Dave was saying, getting back to this max penalty thing, is that if you had a graduating scale, somebody put the numbers down, do the math. If the violation's from $0 to $50,000, our typical thing would be have 2%, 5%, whatever. If it's from 50,000 to 100,000, and that gives us a guideline instead of a max penalty, we'd look at it or have something that we'd look at for consistency. That if that violation is between $200,000 and $500,000, typically our fine would be 5%, or whatever it is. Somebody come up with that sliding scale just to give us a guideline if we're not going to go max penalty every time.
It seems like if we did that, then we would read, I guess, into the record that it's 5% of the total exposed fine, or because I mean, sitting up here, I think we all be on our calculators trying.
We don't want you doing math up here.
And I haven't spoken to Kevin, but I think I know enough of how he believes and how he is protective of our actions and y'all's. I think if you commit yourself to anything, the minute that you deviate from it, and there will be a time that you deviate from it.
Get popped.
Right. That's my whole point.
Yeah.
Let me ask one question, and this can show my ignorance and newbie on the board. Is there some way, does the investigation and the legal notices and such process allow us that we're not 6 months to a year after a project is complete before we're hearing this? Could somehow we get them in?
Sure.
If we could say, as soon as we... No, but we meet once a month.
You do. But here's the problem, Mr. Brown, and I wasn't in here for most of the day, so I don't know how it went today, but I can tell you what happens here. Meredith does it to me, Mr. Gallo used to do it to me, I don't know if the new Mr. Gallo will do it to me. Courtney occasionally does it. Mr. Tillage gets wound up about it. How come you don't have all of it together here? Why, you got the general, where are all the subs? Well, who's the electrician? I don't know, we didn't get that far because you're rushing us to get through the case. You guys have made it abundantly clear you want the case in its entirety with all of its play the facts as it pertains to all of them.
And that helps with the consistency.
Well,
right.
Yeah, well, and sometimes we kind of, and look, Ms. Brown, what we used to do, even, I mean, it was standard operating procedure. When we had a case with a prime and several subs, they all came, and we heard the case.
If they all come, if sub number 2 doesn't die, if sub number 3 doesn't have a price lawyer that puts us out 6 months,
Yeah, we.
that's mad because he doesn't get to hear from everybody at one time. I'm picking you wrong. I can't control who comes and can't. We don't have the same.
Yeah, we don't have that, but.
Okay.
But if somehow we had it where we could, I mean, almost shut the job down.
This board doesn't like to shut down jobs.
No, I hear that, but if there was some other teeth than a $1,000 fine and a $1,000 cost.
Well, we do have.
You can suspend the license.
You can suspend it, and you can issue cease and desist as well. We have that power.
And look, I'll tell you this. I usually don't get into it with you, but since we all out on the table here, Sean and Joe and I shut down jobs 2-3 times a week.
Yeah.
We have that authority under certain emergency situations. Okay?
Yeah.
We do it for a variety of reasons. They're all done under the guise of public safety.
Right.
Guys, not really the guise, it's a public safety. The minute that they straighten out whatever they got to do that we're concerned about, we turn them back on, and then they come here and hear your violation. So, but the violation's over there.
That's how it's been done.
And there's so many days you got to have to serve. There's so many days that they got
Yeah, you lag.
and you know how all that works. It's just challenging. I mean, Mr. Brown, in 2023, I testified in a homicide trial, the rest of it in 2014.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I get
they
all
said,
that.
do you recognize the defendant? I'm like, shoot, you have a picture of him? Yeah. So, I get where you're at, and it's just a tough thing to balance. And like I mentioned to Mr. Joseph, I would just be concerned that you say, we're going to use X% up to this and X%. Right. Circumstances vary, and then you will fire off and get somewhere else, and we're all in trouble.
But if we do decide to adopt this model, is that something that we can do on the fly, just say 5% of the max?
My personal opinion, and maybe Kevin could weigh on this a little bit, is if y'all can discuss it amongst yourselves at the penalty phase, I think you're good.
Yeah.
When you say on the fly, that's what I'm thinking about. But I would be very concerned if we had a chart or a table, if you will, because you guys will get off that.
But what we have done,
And to me, it gets a lot more complicated than that. I mean, you have a guy, it's his first time here, and he has a $50,000 fine, and it's his fifth time here, and he has a $50,000 violation. So do you say, okay, well, if it's a first time violation and $50,000, does your chart have all of these interactions? You can't. You have to judge each case on its facts that are sitting here before you, and you just have to be reasonable in what you're doing. So if you're here and it's looking at it and you're saying, well, this guy, it's his fifth fine, but I know it's only $60,000, but guy, we're going to hit you with 10%.
Yeah.
Or, guy, it's your first fine, it's $60,000, we're going to hit you with $500. That you can do that evaluation based on the facts that are presented to you on that day.
Yeah, and so let me just say this. I think what you can look at, all I'm saying is if we assess max fine, it's never going to be collected or it's going to be reheard. That's the bottom line. And maybe as we ratchet down those percentages, we improve our collections, but we also get the attention.
And we reduce the rehearing.
Because in cases like we had today and others, we're coming back and we ended up with 1,000 plus 1,000, and that's it. That's it. So, and they fail.
The reason that a case came back today was because they thought that they had made the offer before and they didn't show up, and so you hit them with the max fine, so they came back today. And we already know that there are several in the past that we've hit with $200,000 fines that they've shown up. They've come back and said, oh, wait. So we did get their attention in doing that, and we worked out a deal, and we made it. The real thing about it is that we want these people to show up so that we can have, as a board, a communication with them to say, look, guys, we just want y'all to follow the law. That's all we're asking for you to do as a board, is to follow the law. And if you come here, we're going to be fair to you. Just follow the law. That's all we're going to do.
And at the same time, if they're astute enough, they can look at the record as well, and they can see what offers are, and And not that we ever encourage any coaching from the staff, but, you know, that happens, you know, those things come about, so, you know. All right. With that, one more. One comment, go ahead.
Thank y'all for listening to what our concerns are. We try not to bring the garbage cases. We try to get everybody in a position where we don't have long drawn out struggles. Sometimes I can't win that though. But y'all did something today I've been asking you to do for a long time. And I'd like you to continue that trend and hopefully improve upon it. The defendant who arrives here in Hunter or Tanika.
Yep.
I don't know who did it, somebody did.
I did.
Why do that? Because there are other versions that, unless you ask us, or you're really super bold and maybe a little bit out of line like me, they jump in and interject it. These guys and girls are not going to do it until they're asked. They can't.
Yeah.
Why can't they? Well, if
they're here as a witness, and they can only answer what is asked of them.
So a lot of times when I present the case to you on the first presentation, my presentation only has to be enough to find the person in violation. That's all it has to be.
Okay.
So I don't know what this guy's going to say.
Okay.
But after he says it, I can come back and rebuttal, and I can ask my investigator to present those questions. Now, sometimes you guys ask the question before I put it in rebuttal, which is what you did today.
But Counselor, I would challenge you to be a little more proactive in that regard.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I think you can step up and do a little more.
So one of the reasons that I haven't done it in the past, right, is because I've always been requested, hey, just put on your case enough to show that the guy is guilty. And if the guy says, like O&A Concrete, okay?
Allegedly O&A Concrete. We don't talk about cases.
I'm sorry. So a guy comes up, but he says nothing. He says, I have nothing more to say.
Yeah.
Right? Well, if he has nothing more to say, then you don't have to hear anything.
And to be fair to the lawyer, he's trying to be as consistent as we're trying to be up here.
Right.
So I mean, if he's getting the evidence into the record on the first go around,
I could go through the evidence every single time because it's all sitting there. But we're going to be here a long time.
Well, I understand that, but when there are obvious points that you know, because we see you or one of the staff.
Usually it's me. I admit it.
Yeah. Well, Brad does it all the time, but that's where we certainly like you to be a little more proactive in that regard.
Sure, that's good.
And prosecute the case.
Please ask
the investigator.
The investigators put hours and hours in this.
Yeah.
You know, some of the cases, some of these people are easy to deal with. Yeah, I didn't know, I made a mistake, whatever. I'll come and do my thing. Some of them lie to them. Some of them go ahead and chase them down. You just don't even know, unless you've done that type of work, the challenges that they go through to bring you a case.
Just to get
and they just stand there, and y'all want to be all
Yeah.
They want to tell you the whole story because they want you to be fair, but they also want you to handle the things, the underlying things, the intent to deceive, that they can't get out just on a piece of paper. Ask them. If you have questions, I'm just imploring you.
All right. Appreciate it.
Please tell us about it.
No, we do. Respect that. All right. Any more discussion? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second. Third.
all right, until next time, gentlemen. You call me out there. All right, so y'all.
Good to see you.
Take care. All right,